Man, why is this thing not working, man?
They say Trump been cheating on his taxes.
No, he's just like most business people. He's not trying to give away the game on how he ain't got to pay these people. Because you don't have to pay these people, bro. You know what I'm saying? So he ain't trying to really let people in his game room. There we go. Yeah, but see, I know that from reading on that and studying that, bro. The whole tax system is set up for entrepreneurs. That's who it's set up for. They don't teach you this, they don't tell you this, but that's who it's set up for. You know what I'm saying? And then if you skilled and you know about it, then you know how to hide your money so that these people don't touch it. You know what I'm saying? So when he coming through and they like, oh, let us see your tax records, most people who were president before him weren't business people. See, Mitt Romney was a businessman, so he might have had the same thing. But, you know, Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton, they hustled, but when they came in, that wasn't what they were known for. You know what I'm saying? George Bush was a businessman. Him and his daddy. I mean, most niggas don't even know George Bush, the younger, owned the Texas Rangers, bro.
Yeah.
Most people don't even know that. You know how paid you got to be to own a professional sports franchise? But see, his granddaddy been had that bread. That's Prescott Bush, one of the most wicked people you'd ever want to encounter.
And they did like the beer and stuff like that too, right? That's not them.
No, the Beers is a whole nother family. George Bush daddy was a criminal. His granddaddy, a criminal. His daddy, a criminal. Nigga, they call George W. Bush or H.W. Bush a drug baron. Cocaine baron.
Welcome.
Yeah, they all snort coke. Nigga, Bill Clinton brother say that nigga, he say Bill like a Hoover. So he just snort up all the coke. Can't nobody get none. What's up, Kira? He was mad. I can't get high. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, if you pay attention, all the drugs that are in the country somehow.
no, but I'm talking about most people don't know that George H.W. Bush was the head of the CIA. Niggas a stone cold criminal. This is known. Like, this is not hidden information. This stuff is known. You know what I'm saying? But it has nothing to do with political affiliation because all Republicans and Democrats are just opposames. We pretend to be opposite sides of the spectrum, but we really own the same thing. So we have to make the public pick like they picking a side, like there's a difference when really we're all working towards the same exact thing. These people hang and run in the same circles. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, John Kerry is married to the lady who owns the Heinz ketchup empire.
There's a lot of people like that. They be in there trying like business people and people that.
Because they're not going to marry outside of what they got going on. That's what I was telling y'all about when they say that Trump's wife was upset because she was like, this ain't what she signed on for.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And most people sit back and look at it, but that's along the lines of what I would be telling y'all about today. Like, bro, if you got a particular lifestyle and a woman get with you, whatever you doing, she has to be a part of that. So if you warn in the word and you done sacrificed your life and forsook all for the word, then she has to do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? And she might turn around and look at, this ain't what I signed up for. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, she probably, I know all his wives are like full immigrants.
As was she. I was the first wife. She was a pure, unadulterated white woman.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Either way, a pure, unadulterated white woman. You know what I'm saying? But it's just the fact that lady looking at this scrutiny and all these other things. I didn't sign up for that. No, I mean, she had her own hustles doing her own thing, but it's the scrutiny of being the First Lady of the United States of America. It's no different if a woman's married to somebody who's a preacher. That's added scrutiny to somebody who's married to somebody who's a member.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's more stupid.
Almost the same. She was a Russian beauty queen. She had all kind of peanut that said that they reported she was getting it, and he paid her $1 a year. And when he left her from a model make, she took him to court and got what she wanted.
Yeah.
And he didn't like it.
It's just scrutiny, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, it takes a certain type of woman to be married to a certain type of man. If you're a business person, it takes a certain type of woman to be married to a business person because your life is not the same as a nigga who gets up and clocks in every day.
And then he left model make, fool around with the way he married to them.
Yeah.
And I don't think people that's what I mean by that, bro. Like, I say we look at that, Peter was already married. Like I say, right, Paul chose not to be married, but do you know what type of woman it would have took to be married to a man whose life is like that? You know what I'm saying? The average woman's not going to want to do that.
Paul going hard even before Mashiach.
There he was, but then I'm talking about but after the fact, though. He wasn't traveling and going from here to here and there to there like that. Like his whole life was dedicated to the service of the word. That means that woman's whole life has to be dedicated to that because you his helpmeet. So you supposed to be his aid, his help, and his relief. So you got to be working toward, you can't be off in the cut. I want to do this, I want to do that. Why we can't do, now you unequally yoked. It don't even matter if you claim to believe the same thing because you're not on board with what he got going on. You know what I'm saying? You're not on board with that. It's different. You know what I'm saying? That's a different lifestyle. That's why you use the analogy of comparing it to a woman who is married to a soldier. That's a different lifestyle than somebody who's married to a civilian. You know what I'm saying? Because he could get called at any time to go to war. And it doesn't matter what y'all had planned, where y'all was going, and you have to support him in that. You know what I'm saying? This man on the battlefield, he can't be sitting around thinking about you and the kids. It could get him killed. But you know, and nothing against a woman, most women want undivided attention and focus to be on them and the time that they feel like they should have. But a strong woman married to that type of man gonna know that that's not gonna be the case till he retires. So I have to support him. So you know what I'm saying? It's the same token. Any woman can't be married to an Army soldier, a Marine. It's just a little different for somebody in the Navy or in the Air Force. You know what I'm saying? Because in the Navy, you just got to deal with and be on a boat for 6 to 12 months. You know what I'm saying? In the Air Force, you know, they don't go out as often. You know what I'm saying? But somebody that's in the Army or in the Marines, it's different for them. Hello? What's happening with you, man? Yeah, it's different, bro. Like I say, man, it's different. Yeah, I mean, your life is to the service of Elohim. That's who your life go to. It's the service to his people. But we're going to sit back and look at that, man. When you look at the Levites, I told you about that last night. They didn't have no inheritance. They belong to Yah. So whatever he's sending them to go do, that's what they got to go do. While the people were chilling on the Sabbath coming to hear the word, they working. They in the temple working. Ain't no we can sit out here and relax. And guess what? The next day, they got to go right back in that temple and work some more. And the next day, they got to go right back in the temple and work some more. And the next day, and the next day, and the next day. It can't never be looking at it like, oh, baby, I want to go do this morning. Well, you know, I got to go prepare the morning sacrifice, but it's okay. He can't do that. You know what I'm saying? He can't do that. He got to be there to perform that service. That's not up for debate. And you look at that, any woman can't be married to that. You know what I'm saying? I don't think people really weigh that out. If I talk to a woman, I ask her, is this what you want to do? Because if this ain't what you want to do, if you don't really understand what you're getting yourself into, you might want to back out now. And they ain't saying that to be funny, or, you know what I'm saying? Because this might not be what you want. I ran into some woman, she talking about, I really like you, I'm intrigued by you. I said, I hear you. I say, man, but you ain't. I say, man, I just want to get a chance to get to know you. No, you don't. Because once you find out what this is, that might not be what you want for yourself. It might be better for you just going to skate on by and go on about your business. And I ain't even talking about on the floor for if you're going to have to change the way you live your life. I'm talking about everything that come along outside of that.
Your whole mind just got it,
But then outside of that, my life is not actually dedicated to you. So that means things that you may want to do, we probably won't be able to do. That's why I told you, a nigga take it as, oh, he don't want. It ain't got nothing to do with what I want. See, that's what people get it, the game twisted at. Thinking it's about it's not about what I want. It's about what he want. Which one gonna win? Most people gonna move into what they want gonna win, and they gonna want to be in hell after that. And a lot of people sit back and they can't look. Because I'm telling you, bro, if you was to go out to the average person, especially women, and you bring the word to them and say, okay, this is how you got to live. Well, what about my life? That's what you're going to hear from most women. What about my life? Because especially younger women, because they want to do certain things. And then you let them know that you might not be able to do certain things, and they feel like, well, how am I going to be happy? Well, if you got to live in Elohim, how could you not be happy? Because you can't go do this or go do this, or the things that you had in your mind that you want to do in your life, now you can't do them, but you have an opportunity to do something that the average person on this planet will not have the opportunity to pursue. Because we don't weigh it the same.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We don't weigh it the same. You looking at, I got to lose this. Well, losing this will allow you to gain life eternal. We don't be wanting to do that, though. You know what I'm saying? We don't be wanting to do that, though. And I'm not knocking nobody for certain things that they may want to go do in their life. It's not saying that those things are wrong if they're not against the word. It's just the fact of, if you call to do this man's will, then you have to be willing to leave those things behind. You know what I'm saying? That's why we're going to look at it and focus on it. Peter forsook everything. Like I'm saying, now Peter was a man, a real person, flesh and blood. If we don't think that there was things in his life that he wanted to do or thought about doing before that moment that man came on that boat, we lying to ourselves. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of things that I had in my mind I wanted to do before he said, boy, you got to go. Now what you going to do? Turn back to go back this way to go do it? Or you not fit for the kingdom then? You not made for this. You ain't cut out for this. Because you were looking back. You wanted to reach back to do this and reach back to do this and reach back to do this because people I told you, man, it's that Christian church, man, and all that other stuff to feel like you can mix it. It's not very many people who, when it come to preaching the word, that they are completely and solely dedicated to that service. What if the master would have decided to take a day off? Take a week off? You can't do that. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that. People think, because like I told you, man, the pastor off today. He went on vacation. He'd be back in about 2-3 weeks. A true servant of Elohim can't do that. Wars don't stop. This is a never-ending battle till this man get back here. Who do you see soldiers taking time off on a battlefield at? It don't happen. It don't happen. If niggas taking time off why you think we losing the battle right now? Because niggas go fight when they want to fight. You know what I'm saying? And most of them are influenced by their own desires or they influenced by a woman. I why the word say a woman's heart is like snares and nets and her hearts are like bands. Say, he that pleaseth Elohim shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her. So you'll turn around and you'll sit back and look at it, right? If a man is pleasing Elohim, then a woman ain't going to be able to get him. He'll deliver that man from that woman. And that ain't you got to understand something, this ain't no shot at women, this just stating what the word states. Because women like for you to do certain things. and want certain things. That's why you say her hands are like nets, and you know what I'm saying, and it's snares. There's a reason for that.
A man is like pleases women.
Exactly, that's what he gonna try to do. You know what I'm saying? So because that's what he gonna try to do, it could take him off track. See, like when they look at snares, that's the word for matsod. It just literally means a net or stronghold. And then when you look at bands, it's prison. It's a sword. It's a house of bonds or prison. So we say her hands are as bands. Say this woman's trying to imprison you and snare you and hold you. What is she going to be trying to snare you and hold you to? To do things outside of what you're supposed to be doing. Unfortunately, supposed to do. And unfortunately, when you look in this word, you will see that many men were taken down because of a woman. More than likely trying to please that woman outside of doing what he knew he was supposed to do. That's what got Solomon in trouble. That's what got Samson in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Because they were trying to please that woman. So you sit back and look at it, right? If you with a woman, and then this man allow you to get away from that woman? No, I'm talking about he just said, right? He that please Elohim will escape from her. Do you know what I'm saying? The sinner will be taken by her. This is not a virtuous woman. This is not a strong woman. He said the woman. Because Solomon already stated a virtuous woman prices far above rubies. Who can find that? So that's not who he's talking about. So he's not talking about escaping from a righteous woman. He's talking about escaping from a sinful woman, a weak woman, an unbelieving woman. Because why would this man allow a righteous woman to take a sinner? So that means that there's a man who pleases Elohim and he's with a woman who doesn't please. Because you got to remember what the word say. The word say, he that's in the flesh cannot please Elohim. It's not possible. So if you're pleasing Elohim, that means you're not in the flesh, which means you walking in the Ruach, which means the woman you're escaping from is in the flesh and she's carnal, so she can't please Elohim. So therefore, because you please Elohim, he will allow you to escape from her, and he will allow the sinner who is of the flesh as she is to be taken by her, and then they both go to hell together. See, and that's a hard saying, because you have a lot of women who think that they righteous and they virtuous, and they are not. Do you know what I'm saying? It just goes down to the fact that this man is not going to allow a righteous man to be taken down by an unrighteous woman.
Man, that I have like, girls and stuff. They just saying that they're young, and they feel like they be too young. They want to experience life.
Yeah, most of them do. And then feel like I'll come back and serve this man later.
Yeah.
Or I can simultaneously do both. You can't simultaneously do both. Because then he say you're going to love one and hate the other. So you can't do both. You can't do both. Now it's really that people feel like I can live my life, which you can, and serve Yah at the same time. But you living your life can't contradict with the word. Hello? All right. Like it can't contradict with the word. You feel what I'm saying? That's why I say, like, if you a regular dude, then there's certain things like, all right, if you a regular dude, you married, say, yeah, man, my wife want to go on a honeymoon, man, and it's going to coincide with the Shabbat. I'm not really going to say nothing about that. All right, you know what I'm saying? You know what you're supposed to do on the Shabbat, whatever the case may be. You know that you ought to physically gather, but I'm not really going to stress you about that. Could I stress you about it? Yeah, I could, and have plenty book to back it, but I'm not, though. You know what I'm saying? But if you preach the word, bro, you know you're supposed to be here on the Sabbath, though. You know that, right? If I put you this way, right? Preaching on Wednesday is just something that was in my heart to do, and the people asked for it. So I don't necessarily have to be there to do that. But the Sabbath, bro, I'm required to be there. Do you know what I'm saying?
So you couldn't be, say you feel me,
I mean, I could.
Over the phone, whatever.
I could if I chose to do it. You know what I'm saying? But that means looking at if I was in another location, yeah, I could. But it'd be more like, okay, I'm preaching somewhere else. But I used to have to tell my people at the time, like, all right, I can't leave and go do this here, and there's nobody here physically to preach the word. Because now I put myself just, oh, well, we could do it over this and do it over this. Well, now I put myself and my will and my desire above y'all's and above the people's to satisfy you. Now, where's the wisdom and righteousness in that? Because you're looking for a shortcut and a loophole to go do what you want to do. And I'm not going to do that. That didn't sit well with me at all, because now it's not about y'all, it's not about the people, it's about pleasing you. I'm not finna do that. It has nothing to do with whether I want to do it or don't want to do it. But I'm always going to think in line of the word first. And that's why I say, man, this lifestyle is not for everybody. Because everybody's not going to have the wherewithal and the courage and the strength to say no. And to take the fallout that comes with that no. You know what I'm saying? Because people, like I told you, it's not personal, it's business. My business does not preclude me to do. I can't be about my father's business and be about your business. Because one is going to lose, and it's not going to be the father's business. But people that take that is, you don't want to do, and it ain't got nothing to do with that. You know, it's beautiful out the door right now. You know how many niggas out here doing this and doing that and doing this and doing that? They feel like, well, this is Sabbath, as long as I ain't doing this here. I can't be like, well, shoot, this is a beautiful day outside, baby. We just gonna slide over here. I ain't preaching today. Can't do that. Can't do it. It's not acceptable. Do you know what I'm saying? That's not acceptable. That type of stuff will show that you're not a faithful steward. You're not faithful. Because it's about you. It's not about him. That means he never sent you to do it in the first place, because you don't even have the mind to even think differently than you trying to fit your life in around him. Because now as you sitting back in all honesty, like we talked about last night, man, I got to spell it out for you. You can't read in between the lines. What is you just telling him? That he's not important. That what you got going on is more important. But you be like, but that's not what I said. That is what you said. You gonna buck him. You gonna buck him with no hesitation. Because all we sit back and look at is things like this here. Let's look at the sin of the man in 1 Kings 13. He told him, don't go back the way that you came. Don't drink no water in this place. Don't eat no bread. Now, of course, this is a direct commandment. But what we're looking at is a situation like this here. You've been given an order to do a particular work. You looking at, it ain't a big deal if I do opposite of that, because it ain't like I violated the words that were written in the law. But you did, though, because you knew what your charge and your responsibility was, and you chose to do what was pleasing to you versus what Elohim told you to do. And that's where the problem coming at. That's where the problem coming at. That's where the problem coming at. If you come to serve this man, your life is over. This man clearly said, we read it Wednesday, going to read it again. This man said, you must hate your life also. So that means everything that you want to do in your life, you got to see. There's two types of warfare. You got the warfare of you've been sent to preach, and then you have the warfare of defending your soul. You understand? What's up? There's two different types of warfare. Both of y'all got on the polo shirt. You know what I'm saying? You have to think about that, though. Yeah, see, you have two different types of warfare. You know what I'm saying? You have the one warfare where you battling the flesh to not commit sin. But then you have those who have actually been charged for warfare to step on the battlefield. You know what I'm saying? That means they're the one waging war on behalf of the people to protect them in the battle. You know what I'm saying? That's why I told you we were going to come back and revisit that Songs of Solomon. He said they got the sword on their side. They all experts in war. They've been taught how to fight. Then they go do what? They go teach the people how to fight. But it's their job to be on the front line and wage the battle. Everybody in the nation of Yasharal did not get on the battlefield and fight. It was chosen choice men. They went and fought the battles for you. And we'll look at that one part when David say, hey man, the same reward go for those who fight as them who sit back with the stuff. That's what I told y'all last night. Whether you preach or not, everybody get the same reward. The preacher's not going to get an extra reward over the person who sat back with the stuff. Everybody getting the same thing. You know what I'm saying? But this person has a larger responsibility. Because he said to whom much is given, much is required. So there's more required of you if you've been given something that somebody else had not been given. The same thing that's required of me is not required of you. He didn't give you that. So it's not required of you to cut this off, cut this off, cut this off. You can't do this, you can't do that. That's required of me though. Same thing with the Levites. It was more required of them than the other tribes. They were not given the ability to serve in the tabernacle and to teach the law. The Levites were. So there was more required of them than it was of the other tribes. We don't seem to grasp that in our heads. It's more required. You know what I'm saying? Let's say we're like, okay, I'll ask this morning. Okay, what's your reasonable service if you're looking at preaching as a warfare? No, reasonable service is not sinning. But then what's going above and beyond for somebody who's not no preacher? Even though these things are contained in the law, we're going to look at that with the rich man. The rich man say, well, hey, I keep all the 10. I'm straight. He say, no, how about you sell everything you got? You know what I'm saying? Come on and follow me. So one of the things that somebody who ain't preaching, could you abandon your life and everything you want to do? Because this man say, well, I am, my servant will be also. So wherever he go, you going. You know what I'm saying? You have people that they're not going to feed the poor. They're not going to lodge strangers. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to speak a due word in season. These are things that go above and beyond what's... Because if you keep this man's commandments, you're doing just what you're supposed to do. If you sacrifice yourself from not committing sin, you're doing just what you're supposed to do. But if you love your brother as the master loved you, you're going above and beyond. You know what I'm saying? Now you're going past what's required of you. He say the whole duty of man is to keep the commandments. Now if you go past that and look at the things the master did, which were past that, now you're doing more than your reasonable service. If you're willing to lay your life down for your brother literally and spiritually, you're going past your reasonable service. Because for most people, that's asking a lot. I got to do this, I got to do that. Not eating pork, that's simple. You know, treating somebody how you want to be treated, loving your neighbor as yourself, meaning if he got a wife, you ain't going to sleep with him. You ain't going to steal from him. That's not going above and beyond. Loving your neighbor as you love yourself is not going above and beyond. You're not going to lie to him because you don't want him to lie to you. You're not going to put your hands on him because you don't want him. That's not going above and beyond. But if you seen your brother and he was hungry, or he was in jail, or he was sick, and then you went and go holler at him, you just went above and beyond. Do you know what I'm saying? You lay your life down for him, you went above and beyond. The master washed these men's feet. He went above and beyond. You know what I'm saying? That's the part people that sit back and look at missing. You know what I'm saying? The master says it's more blessed to give than to receive. You're going above and beyond. And that's no different than, but somebody who preaching, they going way above and beyond. Because their whole life stops. I'm really just waiting on Marie. That's really what I'm waiting on. You know what I'm saying? Might not wait for him much longer. It's 3:15 already.
Yeah.
Just being honest though. You got to look at that. You got to go. It's twofold. It's two.
You fight two battles. You fight your personal battle, and then you fight the charge that you were given.
Because you're given a responsibility. Like everybody got to keep this man's commandments, but everybody can't preach though. As soon as I said it, there you go. You know what I'm saying? Hey, baby. Hey. So you got to look at that. You got to think about that. Little Tubby. saying?
That talk, you know.
He had a fight, man. He ain't win.
Yeah.
Fought the wall, fought something.
He might have won, you know. Old boy might look worse than him.
No, he ain't fought him. He probably fought the wall or something. Fought a chair. Chair won. But you gotta think about that type of stuff, man. You know, warfare is not for the faint of heart. It's not for the weak. A lot of people ain't cut out for it. But I say though, we're gonna sit back and understand that concept. I'll probably start with the Levites first. You know, the much is given, much is required. When you look at the word, that's something that he gives. That means it's more required of you. So I done hit him for something. So you gotta think about that. You have to wait it out. Cause you know, I know a lot of, especially like we were talking about last night, that a lot of now in these days and times, everybody think everybody in Yasharal is supposed to preach. I seen a video where a dude say, nigga was a gang member. Nigga say he knew he was an Israelite. He say, dude asked him, so what you supposed to be doing as an Israelite? Waking up all other people and telling them they an Israelite. Where is that at in the book? That's not your job. That job was reserved under choice men who y'all chose. Like he chose the Levites. They didn't choose him. Why you think that the master makes that statement? I haven't chosen you. You haven't chosen me. I chose you. The Levites did not choose y'all and say we will be the preachers. He chose them. We don't even look at that. We don't even weigh that. We don't even consider that, hey man, everybody got their role to play. Everybody got their job to play. Like somebody speaking in tongues, their job to speak in tongues or to discern tongues is an operation that's a part of the warfare. Everybody's not given that job and it's part of the warfare. You know what I'm saying? You sit back.
Like a lot of people, they use common sense for a lot of things when it comes to the word.
They ain't got no common sense. Everything go out the window. You want me to open that for you? I can't. My hands are greasy. Ask me to open it for you. You know what I'm saying? You have to think about that type of stuff, man. Really think about that and wait. Because I would tell y'all that all the time. When it comes to the word, it's like niggas' brains stop working. And it's only because it stopped working because you've been so far removed from your own culture and how we operated and how we moved that you don't realize that that's not how we did things. They were not just miscellaneous agents all across the land of Yasharal just dropping word everywhere. Let me tell you about this here, brother, this, that, because he didn't send it. They had enough sense to know, I ain't a Levite. I ain't finna be around here teaching nobody nothing.
They had a judge.
You had judges, you had officers over things, you had prophets. Everybody played their part in what they were supposed to be doing. But when it came to the actual preaching, ministering, and teaching of the word, that was the Levite's job and the Levite's job only. Nobody else tried to intercede on that job. You know what I'm saying? They didn't even think about doing it. They didn't want to do it. When they began to do it, it's because they were following pagan idols. And that's when that came about. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, they wasn't doing that, man. They wasn't doing that, man. You know what I'm saying? Now, under the priesthood of Melchizedek, it doesn't matter what tribe you're a part of. So now it's going to come down to who he sends. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's going to come down to, who he sends. So that's how that works, man. As soon as he's ready, man, we finna go. It's 3:20. That's a hard thing, I'm telling you, man. Get out on that battlefield, boy, it goes down. It's ugly out there. Blood gets spilled and guts get seen. Whole families get slaughtered. I just seen a brother say something real. He was like, you know, if you play the role of a good king, and they say no matter how much good work you do or how much service you do, he say all people sitting around to do is wait to exploit your mistakes. You know what I'm saying? And as a soldier, that's what people sit back and do to. So they sit back waiting to point them out. See, that nigga ain't do this. That nigga ain't do that. You know what I'm saying? Everything else, they don't remember none of that. That's how they did the master. They didn't remember none of that stuff he did. He got a devil. He's a blasphemer. That's why I still stand to this stance. I will never turn nor budge from it. These niggas will kill him again. And I'm talking about people who profess to believe in it. They'll kill him again. You know what I'm saying? That man come right around here, bro, 2017, doing what he did 2,000 years ago. This is without question, they'll kill him again. They'll kill him again. Because he's not coming through how you thought or you feel he should come through. So when you see him coming through, you gonna be offended at him. Don't sit back and think, oh, he was working these miracles, I would have believed. They didn't believe in. So the miracles ain't gonna get it done. They seen this man resurrect somebody from the dead, they laughed at him. They seen this man casting out demons, he do it by the prince of demons. What make you niggas think you gonna be any different than them? And all I'm just sitting here telling you the reason why I'm warning you of that thought process, because he said, yeah, don't say to yourself that we wouldn't have killed them like our fathers did. He said, bear witness to yourself you killed them. Because you already knew you killed me. That's why you felt the need to tell me that. Right or wrong? That's why you felt the need to tell me that, because you was already gonna kill them. You they churn. What else you gonna do? Yeah, the same way talking niggas like, oh, I wouldn't have been doing that in the wilderness. You'd have been the first one to buck. Like your people ain't never believed. So why you think it's going to be any different now? They got the same information that you got. Only difference the people in the wilderness is they didn't have the testimony of Mashiach. They still wasn't. They were killing niggas for preaching him after he resurrected. So what make you think it's going to be different now?
And niggas feel like they would have seen, the seed part. They would have seen.
That's your hope. Your ancestors seen it too and say, shoot, that nigga been on that mountain too long. He brought us out here to die. They seen this man resurrect people from the dead, heal the sick, you know what I'm talking about, open the eyes of the blind, unstop the ears of the deaf. You know what I'm talking about, walk on water and all that. They said, boy, kill that nigga. And kill that nigga right now. Son walk on water every day. No, he ran into the wall.
Mean cuff.
You got a little black eye.
It's a little cuff, though. It's a cuff, like a soft black eye.
Threw some hands with Lizzie, I guess. I guess Lizzie won.
Yeah.
Oh, he said he fell in the bathroom? So the bathtub won.
Hey, close that door.
Come on back over here, Elizabeth. We finna go ahead and pray and go. We gotta go. It's go time. Go time. Let the girls get their heads. That junk real out here, man. Real out here, man. It's blood and guts on the battlefield, man. Everybody ain't trying to step out on that battlefield, man. And then, like I said, right, if you're an untrained soldier, all you're going to do is get the battalion killed. That's all you're going to do. If you've ever seen anything with soldiers who were ill prepared, well, I ain't even say soldiers, because soldiers are rank and file. But you're talking about generals, colonels, captains, lieutenants. You know what I'm saying? Guess what's going to happen? You're going to get everybody who's fighting with you murdered. You don't know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. A good leader of a host or an army is skillful in the tactics of war. Therefore, he's able to wage the war to protect his battalion. That's why we look at that Song of Solomon, said they were experts in war. They were taught how to fight. And we actually going to see what Paul tells Timothy that. Teach these men to make them experts in war. So that you, that's what it, like I said, that's why he makes the statement that he makes. If you've been chosen to be a soldier, you can't entangle yourself with the cares and affairs of this life. Because you're not going to be able to please him who called you to be a soldier. Which means that woman whose heart is like a stronghold, and is a prison, she gonna take you and she gonna kill you. He ain't gonna let you escape because you don't please him. So why would he even let you escape from somebody when he said you'll escape from her because you please him? If you don't please him, you're not gonna escape from her. He gonna let you stay right there and he gonna let that woman kill you. Because that's what you want. So go ahead. You know what I'm saying? That's what a lot of people don't realize, man. If that's what you want, then y'all gonna let you have what you want.
That's like the first thing when I first read the word, Proverbs, you know, I talk about women getting trapped and hit. That's real.
Yo, old strange woman take you down every time.
What's something serious?
That's your popcorn. You eat it. Yeah. Which way it is? Oh, we got it. All right, y'all. Y'all ready? No, it's that way. Okay, right, Father, Yahuwah, we thank you for allowing us to gather on Shabbat, another opportunity to learn of thee, to be strengthened in our word, that our trust might be exceeding all the way to Shamahim. We pray that you allow our minds and hearts to be set on the things that are on high, not the things that are on the earth, where your son sits at your right hand. We ask you to look upon the whole house of Yasharah, to the Yahudim first, and also to the heathen. All those who fear thee and serve thee in Ruach and in truth, let thy mercy sustain them and strengthen them. Remember all the synagogues and assemblies of Yahuwah and visit them with a word, that thy esteem might be heard throughout the whole earth, that the people may learn of thee, that the people may learn to trust in thee and to hope in thee, that they might be quickened by the Ruach HaKodesh, that you might be our Elohim and we might be thy people, according to the covenant which you swore to our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Remember that covenant and look down upon us as we stand before thee to confess our sins and the iniquities of our fathers, to remember that covenant and take us back into that place which you swore to our fathers, to dwell in Jerusalem, the city of salvation, the city of shalom, that we might behold thy face to sing to thee forevermore. Remember assembly the firstborn individually and collectively, and let the love of Hamashiach dwell in our hearts by faith. Guide us according to thy truth and righteousness, and let thy word guide us. Let us not seek our own heart and our own way, but give us a mind and heart to be able to stand to fight a good fight, that we might receive the crown of life after we've done all things that we can do to stand. Father, as we proceed further, we ask thee for a word from on high, a word of truth and righteousness to come to us, that we may know him that is true, that we are in him that is true, even our son Yahushua HaMashiach. This is the true Elohim and eternal life. Father, we give praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Yah by Hashem Yahushua this day. So good. John 5:39. We give praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Yah by way of his son Yahushua HaMashiach. And we're going to start at John 5:39, and then after that, I think Exodus 13:1.
Search the scriptures. For him do you think ye have eternal life, and they which testify of me, and you will not come to me that ye might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you that ye have not the love of Elohim in you. I am come in my Father's name, and ye receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him ye shall receive. How can ye believe, which receive honor one of another, and seek not the honor that come from Elohim only?
So we look at Exodus 13:1, right? I already got it, because we got to move quick. And one person ain't going to do it today. Exodus 13:1. I'm already up. And it says, And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Sanctify unto me all the firstborn whatsoever opened the womb among the children of Yasharah, both man and beast, and it is mine. Now he said to sanctify. Now we done dealt with this before. When you talk about that, right? You know that he had slaughtered the firstborn in Egypt. And now he say, set apart those that are the firstborn, they belong to me. But then he's going to make a substitute. Go to Numbers 18:1. He's going to make a substitute. Does anybody know what event occurred that caused him to make this substitute? But what occurred to cause him to make this substitute is what occurred in Exodus chapter 32. When the people were worshiping the golden calf, and he said, who was on Yah's side? The Levites stood up. And this is what caused him to make the substitute. Numbers 18:1.
And Yahuwah said unto Aaron, Thou and thy sons in thy father's house with thee shall bear the iniquity of the sanctuary. And thou and thy sons with thee shall bear the iniquity of your priesthood.
So guess what this means if he's saying bear the iniquity? What you think he's referring to? He said they got to bear the iniquity of the sanctuary and the iniquity of the priesthood. Go to 2 Corinthians chapter 5 by verse 19. Now notice this is only one tribe that he's giving this charge to. One group of people has this responsibility. Go ahead, man. 2 Corinthians 5 and 19.
To wit, that Elohim and the Mashiach reconciling the world into himself, not imputing their trespasses unto them, and have committed unto us the word of reconciliation. Now when we are ambassadors for the Mashiach, as though Elohim did beseech you by us, we pray you in the Mashiach's stead, be ye reconciled to Elohim. For he hath made him to be sin for us, who knew no sin, that we might be made the righteousness of Elohim in him.
So basically the priests are the one who have to reconcile the people. They have to bear the sins of the people. They also the ones that did the sacrifices. They the ones that have to carry this burden, this responsibility. That's a lot required of them. We're going to see more about that in a moment. Come back to Numbers chapter 18. Though. In verse 2.
And thy brethren also of the tribe of Levi and the tribe of thy father, bring thou with thee, that they may be joined unto thee, and minister unto thee. But thou and thy sons with thee shall minister before the tabernacle of witness, and they shall keep thy charge, and the charge of the tabernacle. Only they shall not come nigh the vessels of the sanctuary and the altar, that neither they nor ye also die. And they shall be joined unto thee, and keep the charge of the tabernacle of the congregation, for all the service of the tabernacle. And the stranger shall not come nigh unto you. And ye shall keep the charge of the sanctuary and the charge of the altar, that there be no wrath any more upon the children of Yasharah. And I, behold, I have taken your brethren, the Levites, from among the children of Yasharah, and to you they are given as a gift for Yahuwah, to do the service of the tabernacle of the congregation. Therefore thou and thy sons with thee shall keep thy priest office for everything of the altar and within the veil, and ye shall serve. I have given your priest office unto you as a service of gift, and the stranger that cometh nigh shall be put to death.
You know what he said? The priest office was a gift to them. That was something that he gave to them. Now let's look at Malachi chapter 2, man, about verse 5. I gotta find another verse. Make it 2 and 1. Malachi 2 and 1.
And now, O ye priests, this commandment is for you. If ye will not hear, and if ye will not lay it to heart, to give esteem to his name, says Yahuwah of hosts, I will even send a curse upon you, and I will curse your blessings. Yea, I have cursed them already, because ye do not lay it to heart. Behold, I will corrupt your seed, and spread dung among your faces, even the dung of your solemn feast, and one shall take you away with it. And ye shall know that I have sent this commandment unto you, that my covenant might be with Levi, says Yahuwah of hosts.
So he made a contract with Levi. Go ahead.
My covenant was with him of life and shalom, and I gave them to him for the fear wherewith he feared me, and was afraid before my name. The Torah of truth was in his mouth, and iniquity was not found in his lips. He walked with me in shalom and equity, and did turn many away from iniquity. For the priest's lips should keep knowledge, and they should see the Torah at his mouth. For he is the messenger of Yahuwah of hosts. For ye are departed out of the way.
See, he said that the Levite is the messenger of Yahuwah of hosts. That's who he sent. Now let's look at Numbers chapter 8 and about verse 14. Because remember how we just looked at it, he said he sanctified all the firstborn. Now we just read in Numbers 18 where he gave them that charge to do this service. Now you're gonna see in Numbers where he tell you why he gonna make a substitution. Because if we go along with what the words say, all the firstborns are the one who's supposed to preach the word then. Go ahead.
Numbers 8 and 14. Thus shalt thou separate the Levites from among the children of Yasharal. The Levites shall be mine.
The Levites will be what?
Shall be mine. And after that shall the Levites go to do the service of the tabernacle of the congregation. And thou shalt cleanse them and offer them for a burnt offering, or for an offering.
He said they'll do what? They'll do what?
He shall cleanse them and offer them for an offering.
He said they'll cleanse them. Well, then how do they get cleansed then? Let's look at Ephesians 5 and 22. What's going on, brother? Shalom. I got you. Read this Ephesians 5 and 26. We coming right back to Numbers chapter 8. You notice he said the Levites are his. But he's going to tell you why the Levites are his.
Ephesians 5 and 26. That he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of the water by the word, that he might present it to himself an esteemed assembly, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that it should be kodash and without blemish.
Now pause, right? This man said they got to be offered, they got to be cleansed, and they got to offer themselves as a burnt offering. They got to offer a burnt offering. So you know what that burnt offering would be? That burnt offering is them literally offering themselves as a living sacrifice. This is what somebody who preached the word got to do. He got to offer. He got to be cleansed. See, hold on, what it is? Acts chapter 9, by verse 17. Make it verse 14.
Acts 9 and 14.
Yeah.
And here he hath authority from the chief priest to bind all that call on thy name. But Yahuwah said unto him, Go thy way, for he is a chosen vessel unto me.
He's a what?
A chosen vessel unto me.
He's a what?
A chosen vessel unto me.
Didn't the Levites look like they chosen vessels under Yah? Now what tribe is Paul from? He from Benjamin. Remember, we looking at this what it calls, that's the Levitical priesthood we reading about. The same laws and rules apply, except the tribe designation no longer applies. Because you're under the priesthood of Melchizedek. There is no tribe designation of what tribe can teach the word. It's all going to be about who Hamashiach sends. The reason why we focusing on that, because Malachi chapter 2 says what? The priest's lips should keep knowledge. He is the messenger of Yah of hosts. A messenger is someone who is sent. You understand what I'm telling you? So, but we see the ones who, according to the law, who was sent to teach the word. The Levites were sent. Keep going.
A chosen vessel unto me to bear my name before the Gentiles.
To bear his what?
His name before the Gentiles.
Are not the priests that we read in the law, son, to bear his name, not just amongst the Gentiles, but amongst Yasharal. Now he gonna tell them against the Gentiles and who else? He gonna tell the other people too.
And the kings and the children of Yasharal. For I will show him how great things he must suffer for my name's sake.
That's good right there. Get Acts 22, man. Pick him out by verse 10, where you can tell him where he say, wash away your sins, where he was cleansed. You already see the burnt offering that he went through. We just didn't read it. That's when he made him go blind. You know what I'm saying? He had to be tried. See, and you got to be purified both ways. You got to be purified by the washing of water by the word. You got to be purified by the immersion in the man's name. And you got to be purified by the trial by fire, that you might be found meet to be received of him. And guess what happened when you look at the Levites? They went through the Red Sea, so therefore they were cleansed. They went through a trial by fire because therefore they were tempted to worship the golden calf in Exodus 32, yet they stepped aside and did not do so. They were also tried in the wilderness through the temptations that the people suffered, and they came out to be found worthy to be the ones to bear his name unto the people. Go ahead.
Acts chapter 22, verse 10. And I said, what shall I do, master? And Yahuwah said unto me, arise and go to Damascus.
Who ain't telling that?
Oh, and the master said unto me, arise and go to Damascus, and there it shall be told thee of all things which are appointed for thee to do. And when I could not see for the esteem of that light, being led by the hand of them that were with me, I came to Damascus. And one Aeneas, a devout man according to the Torah, having a good report of all the Yahudim which dwelt there, came unto me and stood and said unto me, Brother Shaul, receive thy sight. In the same hour I looked up upon him. And he said, Elohim of our fathers have chosen thee, that thou shouldest know his will, and see that just one, and should have heard the voice of his mouth. For thou shalt be his witness unto all men of what thou hast seen and heard. And now why tarriest thou? Arise and be baptized and wash away thy sins, calling on the name of Yahuwah.
You see how he could be cleansed first, and then after that he went to preach the man. He already had went through the fire. Come on back to Numbers chapter 8. What verse you stop at? Yes, Numbers 8. I don't know what verse you stop at.
We're at 14.
Numbers 8 and 14. Listen what he talking about.
It said, thou shalt separate the Levites from among the children of Yasharal.
They should do what?
Separate them from amongst the children of Yasharal.
Why?
And the Levites shall be mine.
They shall be what?
Shall be mine.
Why?
And after that, the Levites shall go and do the service of the tabernacle of the congregation, that thou shalt cleanse them and offer them for an offering.
What else?
For they are wholly given unto me from among the children of Yasharal, instead of such as open every womb. Even instead of the firstborn of all the children of Yasharal.
Did he just sat back and say all the firstborn were his? So that means the intent from the beginning was all firstborn sons were the ones who were supposed to do the service. That means he would have picked firstborn sons out of every tribe. And y'all gonna go do this work. But instead of doing that, he grabbed the Levites. See, a lot of people overlook that because that's who's actually supposed to be teaching the word. And it's going to be the firstborn son of your father. It could even be the firstborn son of your mother, because Joseph was considered to be a firstborn son, even though he was not technically the firstborn. The firstborn technically was Reuben, just period, but he was the firstborn from Rachel. So when Reuben did what he did, that's how the birthright supposed to fell to Joseph, because he was firstborn. You know what I'm saying? Firstborn sons supposed to did that. Instead, he said he grabbed the Levites to do it. He said he separated them for that service. So that's showing you, according to the law, that's the only people supposed to be doing the service. Now come over to Numbers chapter 4 and look at what this man say over here. I got you though. Numbers 4 and 1. And said, Yahuwah spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, take the sum of the sons of Kohath from among the sons of Levi after their families by the house of their fathers, from 30 years old and upward, even unto 50 years old, all that enter into the host, to do the work in the tabernacle of the congregation. This is everybody that enter into the army. They the ones supposed to do it. This shall be the service of the sons of Kohath in the tabernacle of the congregation about the most Kadosh things. When the camp set forward, Aaron shall come and his sons, and they shall take down the covering veil and cover the ark of the testimony with it, and shall put thereon the coverings of badger skins, and shall spread over it a cloth wholly of blue, and shall put in the staves thereof. Now it says that they'll take down the covering veil and put it on the Ark of the Covenant. What do you think they could be meaning by they put the covering veil on it? The veil in the temple, they're supposed to cover up the Ark of the Covenant. But see, something happened now. Now the priest got to take off the veil off the Ark of the Covenant. Let's see why. 2 Corinthians chapter 3 and about verse 11.
You 2 Corinthians 3 and 11. For if that which is done away was esteemed, much more that which remaineth is esteemed. Seeing then that we have such hope, we use great plainness of speech.
They didn't use no plainness of speech back then. Go ahead.
And not as Moses, which put a veil over his face, that the children of Yasharal could not steadfastly look to the end of that which was abolished, but their minds were blinded. For until this day remaineth the same veil untaken away in the reading of the Old Testament, which veil is done away with Mashiach. But even unto this day, when Moshe is read, the veil is upon their hearts.
The veil is still covered up on their heart. But get what he say though. Go ahead.
Nevertheless, when it shall turn to Yahuwah, the veil shall be taken away.
Not turn
to the master. The veil shall be taken away.
It'll be taken away. Who the one's going to take that veil away? Because for the veil to be taken away, they got to hear the word then, don't they? So let's look at Romans 10 and 14 then. And then John chapter 13 and verse 20. Make it verse 15 in John 13. But right now, Romans 10 and 14. We just setting the stage to sit back and show that there's certain groups of people who are sent to do the warfare. Everybody ain't sent to do that. And nor has everybody ever been. Never at any time in the history of the children of Yasharah did everybody pick up a weapon and fight. That ain't never happened. Go ahead.
Romans 10 and 20.
10 and 14.
10 and 14. How then shall they call on him in whom they have not believed? And how shall they believe in him of whom they have not heard? And how shall they hear without a preacher? And how shall they preach except they be sent?
Except they be what?
They be sent.
Except they be sent.
As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of them that preach the Besorah of Shalom.
Now let's look at John 13 and 15. He said they can't do it except they were sent. We can see clearly according to the law, the Levites were sent to do that, were they not? They didn't jump up and say, we're going to preach the word. Y'all chose them. You done already read in Chronicles, man, 30th chapter, 22nd verse, 1 Chronicles, where it say the Levites teach the good law of Yahuwah. That's who taught it. The law back it up. Malachi back it up. Chronicles back it up. That's 3 witnesses, right? That's established. So that's the only people that he sent to go do that fight. That's what I was talking about before, right? And we sit back and we look at it and we if the temple was set right now. You know it'd be a Levite in there sacrificing right now? Morning, noon, and evening. And he got to attend to all the Kodesh things in the temple, not just on the Shabbat, every day. Every day, he's got to do this. You know what I'm saying? So what is his life? He can't be entangled with the cares and affairs of this life. If you just read that everybody 30 years old and up to 50 got to go in there and do this service. He got to come in here and teach the word. He got to come over here and do this and do that. That's his life. That man just said, you're mine. We didn't read the verse. He said, I am your inheritance. This is what he told the Levites. I'm your inheritance. That means it's over with for you. You know what I'm saying? You belong to me. So how you going to sit back and say you belong to somebody else, but you going to do what you want to do when you want to do it? It don't work that way. Go ahead.
We had John 13.
And verse 15.
For I have given you an example that you should do as I have done to you. Mm-hmm. Verily, verily, I say unto you, the servant is not greater than his master, neither he that is sent greater than he that sent him.
Says he that is sent is not greater than the person, because the master was sent. Now he telling those who he sent that I'm not greater than you. Go ahead.
If ye know these things happily, are ye to do them? Mm-hmm. I speak not of you all. I know whom I have chosen, but that the scripture may be fulfilled. He that eateth bread with me have lifted up his heels.
Just like we know y'all knew who he chose in the law. He know he chose the Levites. Go ahead.
Now I tell you before it come, that when it is come to pass, you may believe that I am he. Mm-hmm. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that receiveth whosoever I send receiveth me.
Whosoever I send
receiveth me. And he that receiveth me receiveth him that sent me.
Stop right there. Now, do you notice the master say he's sending people? Just like that his father sent the Levites to go preach. Well, let's go ahead and get this for him. Hello? Malachi 7:1. Because we're going to have to look at the other priesthood. If we don't do that, we will be irresponsible. I said Malachi 7:1. I meant to say Hebrews 7:1. I'm thinking about Malachi because I'm thinking about the priest. Because there's 2 priesthoods. Now, the reason I mentioned, because remember I told you last night, dude said if your pastor taking tithes, it ain't money and he ain't a Levite. It doesn't matter who a Levite is anymore. That's over with. Anybody that always bring up Levites to you is somebody who's holding on to a covenant that has been disannulled and is no longer in effect. That means you're dealing with somebody who's dealing in death and not life. 7:1.
That's it right now.
Indeed.
For this Melchizedek, king of Shalom, priest of the Most High Elohim, who met Abraham returning from the slaughter of the kings, baruched him, to whom also Abraham gave a tenth of all, first being by interpretation the king of righteousness, and after that also the king of Shalom, which is the king of peace.
King of peace.
Without father, without mother, without descent, having neither beginning of days nor end of life, but made like unto the son of Elohim, abideth the priest continually. Now consider how great this man was, unto whom even the patriarch Abraham gave a tenth of spoils. And verily they that are of the sons of Levi who receive the office of priesthood have a commandment to take tithes of the people according to the Torah. That is, of the brethren, though they came out of the loins of Abraham.
Do you notice that he say that the Levites took tithes, but you notice that you see Melchizedek taking tithes? So that's showing you that the things that were the rules according to the priesthood existed before Levi was ever made priest. Go ahead.
But he whose descent is not counted from them received the tithes of Abraham, and Baruch him that had who had the promises. And without all contradiction, the less is Baruch of the better. And here men that die receive tithes, but there he receiveth them, of whom it is witness that he liveth. And as I may so say, Levi also received tithes, paid tithes in Abraham. For he was yet in the loins of his father when Melchizedek
So
met
niggas
him.
can't say tithes got anything to do with Levi. It has to do with the priesthood. The priesthood was before Levi. I don't know why brothers think that all of a sudden the rules for the priesthood came into effect when Levi was born, and then the time period that passed, and when this man snatched him up out of Mizraim, that was already set. This man already had a high priest. So guess what that letting you know? There were men that were already teaching this man word in the planet. Because you know the common conception that people say this here, the law was just in these people's heart. That man ain't never did that. That man had somebody teach it to them. Somebody had to teach it to them. The man don't operate like that. You just wake up and not his word in your heart. That's idiotic. That's just dumb. Guess what he did? He taught the word to Adam, right? And guess what Adam turned around and did? He taught it to his household. Yeah. I hear you. That's what it says. So if he was a preacher, right, how would he be able to know what righteousness is? A preacher is an arranger of sentences. That's core-left. How he gonna know how to do it? Somebody had to teach it to him. Who taught it to him? His daddy taught it to him. Who taught it to him? His daddy. And you know what's gonna get you back to? Adam. And you know what it's gonna get it back to? Elohim. So you know what Adam was? The first priest. How we know he was the first priest? Because he said the priest ought to keep the people should seek the law at his mouth. Eve was his wife. She sought the law at his mouth. He gave her the instruction. She just didn't keep it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
It says, if therefore perfection were by the Levitical priesthood.
If perfection is complete, see, this is what I just heard dudes arguing about this. They thinking that perfection is talking about what? The law itself. But we know when we talking about being perfect, that's shalom. That's the covenant of shalom. That's the wholeness, the completeness. That didn't come by the Levitical priesthood because it was of what? He finna tell you.
For it was under it the people received the law. What further need was there for another priest should rise after the order of Melchizedek and not be called after the order of Aaron?
So why would there be another priest have to be called after Melchizedek and not Aaron? Why? Let's see what it says.
For the priesthood being changed, there is made of necessity. It broke off. Necessity, a change of also the law. For he whom these things are spoken pertaineth to another tribe, of which no man gave attendance at the altar.
So we have a problem. Can't no other tribe teach the law but Levi. That's what the law say. So he had to make a change. Because under Melchizedek, there were no tribes. There was no tribes of children of Yasharal at that time. Yasharal doesn't even exist. Literally. Shoot, Isaac doesn't even exist. Matter of fact, Abraham ain't even been promised Isaac yet. Go ahead.
For he whom these things are spoken pertaineth to another tribe, which no man gave attendance at the altar. For it is evident that our master sprang out of Yehudah, of which the tribe Moses spake nothing concerning priesthood. And it is yet far more evident, for that after the similitude of Melchizedek there arises another priest, whom is made not after the Torah of a carnal commandment, but after the power of the endless life.
What did it say about Melchizedek? He had no end, no beginning of days, made like unto the Son of Man, Son of Elohim. That's what it says. There was not a carnal.
What does that mean, Brother Bank?
Huh?
What does that entail? Can you go a little bit deeper into that itself? Like him making like the Son of God, evangelized, was he? What was his official title? What was he?
He was king and priest at the same time. I was just going to ask y'all that's the difference. Aaron wasn't king, was it? There was nobody at any other time that was king and priest. You look at Joshua, the 6th chapter, about the 12th and 13th verse, and it tells you how Yahushua, the high priest, the son of Jehozadak, would be king and priest on his throne at the same time. See, and that's the difference. That's the difference with the order of Melchizedek, that you could be king and priest. You know what I'm saying? To rule on his throne. Now, a lot of people believe Melchizedek was the master. He wasn't, because it said he was made like.
Right, okay.
So he was similar, but he wasn't him. You know what I'm saying? Because if he's him, that means the master was here twice.
Okay.
We know he wasn't here twice. But you know, according to the flesh, that priesthood of Melchizedek had to be set to prepare to come in later. Because Psalms 110, he say, I swear that you shall be a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. You know what I'm saying? So now we had this priesthood, as you've seen, he said there's a necessity had to be made in the law because Judah had not been spoken about attending to the tribe. I mean, now it doesn't matter what tribe you're a part of to preach the word. Now you just have to be sent. That's the difference. Now you just got to be sent. Because we just steady established that he's son Levi. Now the master is sending his own Levites. They just not a part of the tribe of Levi. Because the dudes kill me with that. If you're going to say that somebody ain't got no business taking tithe because they not a Levi, then they ain't got no business teaching the word because they not a Levi either. If we going to play that role, play it all the way out. Don't play it when it's convenient because you want to pick at Christians or other brews that may take tithes and you don't like it. That is evil. You know what I'm saying? Now that we done established all of that, 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 1. We just had to set that on up. Lay that on down real nice light and then get the show on the road. After 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 1, I got 1 Timothy chapter 1 and verse about 15. Second Timothy chapter 2 and verse 1. Second Timothy chapter 2 verse 1, everybody. Matter of fact, before we read 1 Timothy chapter 1, we'll go back to Luke chapter 5 where we looked at Wednesday after the 2 Timothy. 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 1.
Thou therefore, my son, be strong in the grace that is in Yahushua HaMashiach.
Be strong.
And the things that thou hast heard of me among many witnesses, the same commit thou faithful men, who shall be able to teach others also.
Now you know that Paul, you know what Timothy was, right? Timothy was a preacher. You notice that Paul say that the things you heard of me among many witnesses, commit them to other faithful men. That means he's telling him, I taught you the word, now you go can commit that to, you notice he said faithful men. So this is going back to what we read in the law. They need to be cleansed and they need to be offered. Huh? He would have Greek. Go ahead.
It says, thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier.
Pause. You got to endure what?
Hardness.
So that means you're going to have to endure tribulations. He said as a good soldier. Go ahead. Look what he said after that.
No man that warreth entangling himself with the affairs of this life.
Say no man that war can entangle himself with the care. Now the reason we're looking at this is specifically you can see who is he talking to. He is talking to a preacher. He is telling a preacher, you cannot entangle yourself with the cares and affairs of this life. Why? Listen to the next thing he tells him.
That he may please him who chosen him to be a soldier.
Ain't no way in the world you're going to be able to please him. Now let's hold on. Let me do this here, since we said it earlier. Go get Ecclesiastes 7:26. Yo, we're going to go back to Luke 5. But he says to please him that has called you to be a soldier. We're going to have to determine what does a man have to do to be able to please him. Because notice he said faithful men. Commit that in, which means Timothy by product got to be faithful himself. Ecclesiastes 7:26. See, we can look at Ecclesiastes 7 and 26 honestly in like 3-4 different ways. You can look at it as Babylon. You can look at it as one singular actual woman. You can look at it as Jezebel. You can look at it in many different ways depending on the perspective that you're trying to convey. Go ahead.
Ecclesiastes.
Oh yeah, and the last one is Yasharal. You can look at that woman as being Yasharal as well.
7:26. And I find more bitter than death the woman whose heart is snares and nets, and her hands is bands.
Remember, it said the snares is a stronghold. The bands is you in prison. Go ahead.
Whoso pleases Elohim shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her.
So if you please, how you gonna please Elohim? Hebrews 11 and 1. How you gonna please Elohim? Absolutely.
Hebrews 11 and 1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. For by it the elders obtained a good report. Through faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of Elohim, so that things which are seen were not made of those which do appear. By faith Abel offered unto Elohim a more excellent sacrifice than Cain, by which he obtained witness that he was righteous. Elohim testified of his gifts, and by it he being dead yet speaking.
Yep.
By faith Enoch was translated that he should not see death, and was found because Elohim had translated him. For before his translation he had this testimony that he pleased Elohim. But without faith it is impossible to please him.
It's impossible.
For he that cometh to Elohim must believe that he is, and that he is the rewarder of them that diligently seek
Now,
him.
Paul, who did we read about last night that diligently sought this man? Who was a preacher? It was Ezra. Said Ezra prepared his heart to seek the law of Yahuwah and to do it and to teach that. So you notice that Ezra set his heart to be cleansed to offer himself to the service. Remember, Ezra was a Levite. He was a priest. He was a skilled priest too. They coming up out of captivity, and he say it's his desire to seek his Elohim that he might teach his people. So he had to believe in you. See, I got something for you. You can go to the Luke 5 now. I got this 2 Corinthians chapter 4. Y'all go to 2 Corinthians chapter 4 verse 7. 2 Corinthians chapter 4 verse 7. He said, but we have this treasure in earthen vessels, that the excellency of the power may be of Elohim and not of us. We are troubled on every side, yet not distressed. We are perplexed, but not in despair. Because remember, he said you got to endure hardness as a good soldier. You know what I'm saying? If you notice that the master endured much hardness, persecution, afflictions, sufferings, and all of these things, that he went through that to show himself to be faithful to the man who called him to battle. Persecuted but not forsaken, cast down but not destroyed. Always bearing about in the body the dying of the Master Yahushua, that the life also of Yahushua might be made manifest in our body. For we which live are always delivered unto death for Yahushua's sake, that the life also of Yahushua might be made manifest in our mortal flesh. So then death work in us, but life in you. We have the same ruach of faith, according as it is written, I believe, therefore have I spoken. We also believe, therefore speak. This is talking about, this is a man, he's quoting a song, but this is a preacher. He's telling you what he's going through. That pretty much his whole life is dedicated to this word. And that he has to suffer death, that he has to be persecuted, that he got to go through all these things because he believes it. Therefore, he can please Elohim. It's a lot of men that can't please Elohim. That's why he wives take him down. Y'all did. Y'all already got it. Yeah.
They didn't mark it, so did you already take attendance?
Not yet.
All right, thank you, sir.
You know what I'm saying? You have to look at that. How many men will be really willing to suffer that and keep going? Because guess what? Yahshua can take you down. Remember Paul say, if I seek to please men, I don't be a servant of Mashiach. So this woman, who's more bitter than death, talking about this people, is going to seek to pull you in directions to get you to go along with what they got going on to take you down. Huh? That's your cousin. I don't know that nigga. You know what I'm saying? Think about that. Now you sit back and you think of yourself as a singular man. and you preaching the word, how you gonna please the man who done called you out to preach his word, and you been to whatever your wife wants you to do? That your wife wants you to put her before the word. Now let's look at what happened. Let's read Luke 5 again, man. Look at what James, John, and Peter do. Luke 5 and 1.
And it came to pass that as the people pressed upon him to hear the word of Elohim, he stood by the lake of Gennesaret, and saw two ships standing by the lake, but the fishermen were going out of them and were washing their nets. And he entered into one of the ships which was Simon's, and prayed him that he would thrust out a little from the land, and he sat down and taught the people out of the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And when he had left speaking, he said unto Simon, launch out into the deep, and let down your nets for a draught. And Simon said unto him, Master, we have toiled all night, and have taken nothing. Nevertheless, at thy word I will let down the net. And when they had this done, they enclosed a great multitude of fishes, and their nets brake. And he beckoned unto their partners, which were in the other ship, that they should come and help them. And they came and filled both ships, so that they began to sink.
Mm-hmm.
And when Simon Peter saw it, he fell down at Yahushua's knees, saying, Depart from me, for I am a sinful man, O Master.
Mm-hmm.
For he was astonished, and all that were with him at the draw of the fishes they had taken. And so also was James and John of Zebedee, sons of Zebedee, which were partners with Simon. And Yahushua said unto Simon, Fear not, from henceforth thou shalt catch men.
And what happened after that?
And when they had brought their ships to land, they forsook all and followed him.
They gave up everything and went after the man. So that means everything that they want to do in their life, stop right then. Because he just called them to go fight. It's the same thing when he walked past Matthew. He say, follow me. You don't know what Matthew had going on in his life. That was over with. This man was a tax collector. This man quit his job. You can't get up and just walk away from the tax receipt and just say, I'm gone. You know what I'm saying? He seen these men fish and they say it's over. And then they begin to endure hardness after that. But let's look at something in Matthew chapter 19 about verse 15. Because remember, he told them, he said, you haven't chosen me, I chose you. It's the same thing when we look at the Levites. The Levites did not choose Yahuwah. Yahuwah chose them. We read that in the law clearly, didn't we? He told them, I have ordained you that you should go forth and bring forth fruit. So I say it's twofold things, because it's something in Matthew that talk about getting entangled with the cares and affairs of this life, and that pertains to everybody. You know what I'm saying? And then you have what Paul just told Timothy that pertains to soldiers, those who have chosen to go fight the warfare of the battle against sin and against the principalities in the high places. These are two totally different things. But let's look at this rich man. Go ahead.
Matthew 19. And
verse 15.
Alright. It said, he laid his hands on them and departed thence. And behold, one came and said to him, Good master, what good thing shall I do that I may receive eternal life? And he said unto him, Why callest thou me good? There is none good but one, that is Elohim. But if thou wilt enter into life, keep the commandments. And he said unto him, Which? Yahushua said, Thou shalt do no murder, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness.
So he said not to get eternal life, he already on the right track. Go ahead.
Honor thy father and thy mother, and thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
What else?
And the young man said unto him, All these things have I kept from my youth up. What lack I yet?
Look what he telling.
Yahushua said unto him, If thou wilt be perfect, and go.
So if he say you have shalom, if you have a covenant of shalom, listen what he's telling him to do.
Go and sell that thou hast, and give it to the poor, and thou shalt have a treasure in Shamayim, and come and follow me.
Didn't this man just say he got treasure? We have a treasure in earthen vessels. Well, what is this treasure he talking about? What you think this treasure is he talking about? He say where your heart is, your treasure will be also, right? So what treasure is he talking about? Don't hold this Matthew 19. Get Matthew 13, by verse 45.
Matthew 13:45. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant man seeking goodly pearls, who when he had found one pearl of a great price, went and sold all that he had and bought it. Again, the kingdom of Shamaim is like a net that was cast into the sea and gathered of every kind.
You notice he say that the kingdom is like a man who got a goodly pearls and he done sold everything he has. So if the kingdom of Shamaim is likened unto a pearl or a treasure, then what is this treasure in earthen vessels or this treasure in Shamaim that he telling this rich man he'd have? What is this treasure? It'll be the Ruach. But he has to sell everything he got and follow him. Go back to Matthew 19. Let's see what you know the master's really asking him to do. If the master's asking you to follow him, what is he asking you to do? He's asking you to come to war with him. He's choosing you to be a soldier. When we look at most of the people that he walked up and told them, come follow me, somebody that he literally told to follow him, he was telling them to come to war with him. Go ahead. Because you know he telling everybody to follow him, but then you have certain people he went directly to and said, follow me. And what did every person that he went to say, follow me, what were they doing? Because you had 70 men, he had some men out 2 by 2. Like we only focus on the 12. There were other men who he sent to go teach the word, besides the 12.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that means he had to go to these men and say, yeah, you come on with me. 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 And we're going to see that again in Luke chapter 9 where he tell the man, come with me. And then you're going to see what this man tell him. He telling this man, come with me. Go ahead.
But when the young man heard that saying, he went away sorrowful, for he had great possessions.
Mm-hmm.
Then he said, Yahushua to his disciples, verily I say unto you, that a rich man shall hardly enter into the kingdom of Shamaim.
Mm-hmm.
And again I say unto you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter in the kingdom of Elohim. When his disciples heard it, they were exceedingly amazed,
They were amazed. Look at what they say.
who then can be saved?
What does he say after that?
Yahushua beheld them and said unto him, with men it is impossible, but with Elohim all things are possible. Then answered Peter and said unto him, behold, we have forsaken
We
all
have forsaken
and
all
followed thee.
and followed you.
What shall we have?
What he told him.
And Yahushua said unto them, verily I say unto you, that ye which have followed me in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his esteem, ye also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Yasharal.
He said, this is what you'll get.
And everyone who hath forsaken house, or brother, or sister,
So no,
or father,
now
or
remember
mother,
now he making a separation. He telling the 12, this is what you going to get. Now look what he telling anybody else who do it.
and everyone that hath forsaken house, or brother, or sister, father, or mother, wife, or children, or land, for my name's sake, shall receive 100-fold, and shall inherit everlasting life.
That man wasn't willing to come fight with this man. Luke 9:59. This man wasn't willing to come fight with this man. That's what he asked him to do. Cuz I'm sorry, I don't want to do. I want to walk away from my life. All the things that I was doing and want to do, I don't want to walk away from that. Luke 9:59.
Luke 9:59. And he said unto another, follow me. But he said, Master, suffer me first to go and bury my father.
He said, come fight. If he telling them to follow him, he telling them to come fight with him. He said, let me bury my people first. Look what the master
said
said.
unto him, let the dead bury their dead.
Whoa.
But go thou and preach the kingdom of Elohim.
That's how you know that's what he telling them to do. That's why we can look at that with that rich man and we can see that's what he was telling them to go do. Read it again so they can catch what he telling. That's what I'm telling you. When this man come directly and say, follow me to someone, he was sending them to preach. You know what I'm saying? Now when he say, take up your stake and follow me, just in a general blanket statement where he's speaking to everyone, he's telling you to walk in his pathway. But if he was to walk up to you and say, follow me, oh, you just been hired. You just been hired. You know what I'm saying? Luke 9:59 again.
And he said unto another, follow me. But he said, Master, suffer me first to go bury my father. And Yahushua said unto him, let the dead bury their dead, but go thou and preach the kingdom of Elohim.
He said, you can't be entangled with the cares and affairs of this life, man. You better go preach this word. What did he say after that, though?
And another also said, Master, I will follow you, but let me first go bid them farewell, which are at home at my house.
Say, I'll follow you, but let me handle these cares and affairs of this life before I go do it. Look what he telling.
And Yahushua said unto him, no man having put his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom.
If you worry about the cares and affairs of this life, you ain't fit for the kingdom. You ain't fit for it. Because he telling them, man, look here, man, go. This is how you know he sent other people than the 12 to go preach the word. That's how you know he taught other people than the 12. He just told 2 men, go handle that, and both of them were worried about the cares and affairs of this life. Therefore, they weren't able to please him who chose them to be a soldier because they were worried about, I want to go holler at my daddy. Let me go tell the people farewell. Let me go do this. Let me go do that. Let me go do this. Let me go do that. And you know what the master's going to be like? Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. Because you done put your hand to the plow to start the work, but now you don't get him Genesis 19, man. Don't get him Genesis 19. What it is, about verse 14? I don't know. You know who we finna go look at him. Matter of fact, don't even get that. Give me Luke, man. Give me Luke 19. Don't even worry about that. You just get it out of the gospel, man. Don't even worry about that. Let me make sure Luke 19 is right. It's Luke 17. Luke 17, y'all. Luke 17, man, by verse 28.
Likewise also as it was in the day of Lot.
What was going on in the days of Lot?
They did eat. They drank. They bought. They sold. They planted. They built.
Where was Lot dwelling at? And they were going down to Sodom and Gomorrah, wasn't it? But listen, why he didn't even talk about the sodomy and the fornication and the whoremongering and the idolatry. Read it again. What were they doing in the days of Lot?
They ate.
They ate.
They drank.
So they were going out. They were drinking.
They bought.
They bought stuff.
They sold.
They sold stuff.
They planted.
They planted vineyards.
They built it.
And they built. You know what I see the nigga say today? That nigga say when the feast days coming up, I want to know who keep this law. You know what he say? If you see your pastor neighbor's vineyard, get all the grapes you want, but don't put none in the vessel and take none home with you. Then nigga say, who keeping that law? I say, I know this nigga just ain't compared no feast day to the law of a man's vineyard. That's not no vineyard, sir. You gonna get mad at somebody because they took a plate home with him at a feast day. Are you serious? Nigga really said that. Are you serious? So you mean to tell me the food you cooked in the kitchen is akin to a vineyard? Because that means I can just walk past your vineyard and pluck these grapes. I had to be invited here. Sure, man. Ain't nobody walking past. That's a nice turkey leg you got. Let me grab one of those and let me grab a chicken breast and let me grab some hot sweet potatoes and all them green beans hot, I'm eating right out my hand. Go ahead, man.
At that point, you leave your door open during the feast.
Leave your door open.
Just walk in and
They're walking in and out and make a plate.
and eat and slide.
They eat and slide.
Yeah, no.
Boy, it don't pay to try to misapply the law. Now, if you had a literal vineyard, if you had a literal garden that people could walk past, then according to the law, you supposed to let them people eat that. You know what I'm saying? And you ain't gonna, hey, get off my yard. You ain't supposed to do that. But if you ain't got one, that don't apply to you. But boy, you live in the South and you black. You ain't finna let nobody random nigga walk past your house and be like, can I get that steak you make right there? Like a couple potatoes and a glass of water. And he can eat. And it says let him eat as much as he wants.
That boy supposed to be able to stay at your house, buffet style, and slide.
And slide. So that means when he come in there, you supposed to let him eat as much as he wants. It ain't gonna be like, sir, some people need to eat. So the law says, brother, I eat to my full, and I'm not full. That is nigga that eats out of house and home, and he done slid. There ain't no same as no grapes, man. I paid for these steaks, niggas. We got kids in here. What about the kids, cuz? That's your 5th glass of juice. Nigga say that's your 4th sandwich, man. Your 4th sandwich. I just bought that bread. So, bruh, man, sit in. It wasn't nothing to say. I'm not even gonna entertain that. You can have that. I thought it was funny. It just hit my head just now. Go ahead, man.
We're at Luke 17.
17 to 28.
Likewise also as it was in the days of Lot, when they ate and drank and bought and sold and planted and builded, at the same day Lot went out of Sodom it rained fire and brimstone from Shamaim and destroyed them all.
Killed them all.
Even thus shall it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed. And that day he which shall be upon the housetop, and his stuff down in the house, let him not come down and take it away. And he that is in the field, let him likewise not return back.
Don't go back.
Remember Lot's wife.
Remember what happened to Lot's wife? Why did she get turned to a pillar of salt? She looked back. That's why he say he put his hand to she put her hand to the plow because she was leaving.
Yep.
But then she did this right here. You not fit to be a soldier if you looking back. I sure want to go over here and do this. Because you know eventually what you gonna do? You gonna go back. And then go ahead and give him 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 20. This is what happens when you go back. This is what the book say about you when you go back. Then we got to get into actual battles.
For if they have escaped the pollution of the world through the knowledge of Yahushua, our Master and Savior, they are again entangled therein.
Entangled therein.
And overcome.
The
latter end is worse with them than their beginning.
It was worse than when you started.
For it had been better for them not to have known the way of righteousness than after they have known it to turn
back. It was better that you never even know.
But it has happened unto them according to the true proverb.
What's that proverb?
The dog is turned to his own vomit again, and the soul that was washed to her wallowing in the mire.
See, now you have been washed from your filthiness and you went back to it. There's a lot of dudes that you can see that preach the word and they turn back. So it was better for you not to even have known. Let's go ahead and get that song in Solomon chapter 3, verse 9. We were talking about that week. Let's go ahead and get it.
Songs of Solomon 3 and 9. King Solomon made himself a chariot of the wood of Lebanon. He made pillars thereof of silver, the bottom thereof of gold, the covering of it purple, and the midst being paved with love for the daughters of Jerusalem.
Go ahead.
Go forth, O ye daughters of Zion, and behold King Solomon with the crown wherewith his mother crowned him the day of his espousal, and in the day of the gladness of his heart. For behold, thou art fair, my love. Behold, thou art fair. Thou hast dove's eyes within thy locks. Thy hair is as flocks of goats that have appeared from Mount Gilead.
Yeah.
Thy teeth are like a flock of sheep that are even shorn, which came up from the washing, whereof everyone bare twins, and none is barren among them. Thy lips are like the thread of scarlet, and thy speech is comely. Thy temples are like a piece of pomegranate with thick locks, within thick locks. Thy neck is like a tower, the tower of Daoud built for an armory, wherefore there hang 1,000 bucklers, all shields of mighty men. Thy two breasts are like two young roes that are twins, which feed among the lilies, unto daybreak, and the shadows flee away. I will get me the mountain of myrrh, and the hills of frankincense. Thou art all fair, my love. There is no spot in thee. Come with me from Lebanon, my spouse. With me from Lebanon, look.
That was verse 8.
Where?
You read way too much. I said verse 9. Verse 10.
I thought you said 3. You said chapter 3.
Yeah, and verse 8.
Well, I read 9. Sure did.
Yeah, then you look like you just kept going. Right into chapter 4.
Yeah, that's why when I got to 4, I stopped. I was like, it's 4.
Yeah, I needed verse 8.
Alright. It says, they all hold swords, being expert in war. Every man hath his sword.
Don't give him 7. Just so you can see who you're talking about. Songs of Solomon 3 and 7.
Behold, his bed, which is Solomon's, 80 valiant men are about it.
So strong men. Go ahead.
Of the valiant of Yasharal. They all hold swords, being expert in war. Every man hath his sword upon his thigh because of the fear of the night.
Who remember what that word is in Hebrew for expert? We talked about it last week. What is that word for expert? It's lamar. It's to teach. They have all been taught in warfare. What did we just sit back and look at? What did Paul tell Timothy to do? To commit that same word to faithful men, right? Men who've been taught. How was Paul taught in warfare? Hamashiach taught him. How were the apostles taught in warfare? He taught them. How was anybody else who preached the word taught? Somebody taught them. And then they were experts in war. They were able to go out and wage warfare. That's why he say you can't. So if you've been taught about Hamashiach, give him Matthew 20 and 20. And you can't be entangled with the cares and affairs of this life. You would understand what is going on. You would understand that so much is given, much is required. You would understand that. We already read that with Malachi, right? Where he was talking about the Levites, how he said he made a covenant of shalom with them and all these other things. Much was given unto them. So much was required of them. That's why he said that all the stuff that he did to them, because I required more from you than the other tribe. He did not put that burden of responsibility on Manasseh or Ephraim or Naphtali or Asher or Zebulun or Benjamin. He didn't lay that on any of them. But to Levi, I gave you this responsibility because you were mine. So I require more from you. Go ahead.
Then came to him, we had Matthew 20 and 20. Then came to him the mother of Zebedee's children with her, the sons, worshiping him and desiring certain things of him. And he said unto her, What wilt thou? She said unto him, Grant that these two sons may sit, one on thy right hand and the other on the left, in the kingdom. But Yahushua answered and said, Ye know not what ye ask. Are ye able to drink of the cup that I shall drink of, and be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with? And they said unto him, We are able.
We able. Now these are men who preaching the word. He asking, because the men who asked him that, that's James and John asking him that. These are the same men in Luke 5 that forsook everything they had to follow him. He asked him, can you be immersed with the immersion that I'm immersed with, which we read already in the law, didn't we? They got to be cleansed and they got to be offered. Are you able to do this? There's a lot of people who want to sit back and say they want to go to war. Have you been cleansed? Are you willing to offer yourself? Let me read y'all Luke chapter 12 real fast, man. About verse 45. I'll make it 42. It says, And the master said, Who then is that faithful and wise steward, whom his master shall make ruler over his household, to give them their portion of meat in due season? Baruch is that servant whom his master, when he comes, shall find so doing. Of a truth, I say unto you that he will make him ruler over all that he hath. But and if that servant say in his heart, My master delay his coming, and shall begin to beat the men servants and maids, and to eat and drink, and to be drunken. So again, this is a servant who's caught up with the cares and affairs of his life, because I gave you a charge. And you're not doing what I sent you to go do. Said the master of that servant will come in a day when he look not for him, and at an hour when he is not ware, and will cut him asunder, and will pour him his portion with the unbelievers. So see, when you get caught up in the cares and affairs of this life and all that, you don't really believe what this man told you. Because if you remember, we done read what Paul said, we believe, therefore we speak. That's why I told you that. Somebody asked me, do you believe the stuff you say and the stuff you preach? Absolutely. Why would I speak if I didn't believe it? It doesn't make any sense. Just like people pick at people who say they believe the earth is round, or the people who believe the earth is flat. They believe it, that's why they speak it. We don't agree with it, we know it ain't true. People who believe it's okay for a man to turn himself into a woman, they believe that. They believe that's an accurate thing to do. It's people that believe a lot of things, that's why they speak it. Whether it's true or not, it's not the matter that I'm speaking on right now. But if you believe it, you're going to speak it. If you speak something you don't believe, you fake and you flawed. You're a hypocrite. Why would you speak about things you don't believe? You got people that speak on black rights and black power and all that stuff. You don't believe that. Niggas saying that because they know that's what the masses want to hear. That's what we were telling you about Donald Trump. Donald Trump probably don't believe 99.9% of the stuff that come out of his mouth. But he know you do. The audience, when I say you, the audience that he's speaking to, so that's what he's going to say. That's what politicians do. Politicians don't believe most of the stuff that come out of their mouth. But y'all believe it, so I'm going to tell you what you want to hear. Now, what benefit does a man get from telling somebody what he want to hear other than whatever he's trying to get out of the audience that he's speaking to? You know what I'm saying? Hamashiach wasn't trying to get, what was he trying to get out of people other than their obedience to Elohim? He wasn't trying to get nothing from them. He said, that servant which knew his master's will and prepared not himself, neither did according to his will, shall be beaten with many stripes. But he that knew not and did commit things worthy of stripes shall be beaten with few stripes. For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall much be required. And to whom men have committed much, of them will they ask more. So there's more required. See, go and give me Hebrews 13 and 17. There's more required of somebody who preached the word than somebody who don't.
Hebrews 13 and 17. Obey them that have the rule over you, and submit yourselves, for they watch your souls, as they must give account.
They got to be what?
Give account, that they may do it with joy and not with grief, for that is unprofitable for you. Pray for us, for we trust we have good conscience in all things, willing to live honestly. But I beseech you, the rather to do this, that I may be restored to you the sooner. Now the Elohim of Shalom that brought again from the dead our master Yahusha, that gave that great shepherd of the sheep through the blood of the everlasting covenant, make you perfect in every good work to do his will.
Oh, hold on. I was excited. He said more. Now you read in verse 17, right? He said they watch for your souls because they got to give account. See, I go back to when he talking about the watchmen in Ezekiel, that if they don't warn the people from the sword, that he'll hold them accountable. You know, everybody say, I'm a watchman, your blood ain't going to be on my hands. No, nigga. That doesn't apply to you. You know what I'm saying? Because now you setting up yourself to be a watchman. He got to choose you to be a watchman. A watchman is those who he set to preach the word. So if he ain't sent you to preach the word, you're not a watchman. Ain't nobody blood on your hands. That's not required of you. He didn't give the word to you. So that's not required of you to warn anyone. What you're supposed to do is what it says in Leviticus. Don't suffer sin upon your neighbor. Rebuke thy neighbor. Then that applies to you. Now you have sinned if you see your neighbor committing a sin and you ain't rebuked him and told him. But as far as you warning people, if you're not a watchman, if you're not watching for souls, if you're not a preacher, that doesn't apply to you. See, but you know what the problem is? We take verses and try to make them universal, applying to everybody, and some verses don't apply to everybody. That's why I mentioned that with Ezra. They say Ezra sought the law, right? And then 2 Timothy say, study to show thyself approved. That's what Ezra was doing if he was seeking the law. As a workman under Elohim, rightly dividing the word of truth. You can see in the 8th chapter of Ezra, and I say, my bad, the 8th chapter of Ezra, he started people and caused them to understand the reading of the book. So he was showing himself to be a workman, approved of Elohim, because he is a workman. He sent him to work. 2 Timothy 2, you can tell that Paul is talking to a preacher. So therefore, what he is saying pertains to people who are preachers. If you are not a preacher, then you don't need to be studying to show yourself approved. You need to be searching the scriptures daily to see if those things are so. That's what applies to you. You're not a workman. Workmen do work. You got niggas think they preachers because they post verses on Facebook. That doesn't make you a preacher. You're just someone who wants to share the word. Know the difference. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that there's anything wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? But know the difference. Is that not a difference? That doesn't make you a workman. Because as we seen, didn't he give the Levites the law to teach it? Didn't the master give the people the word for them to teach it? So that means you sharing some verses don't mean nothing was given unto you. That means that don't apply to you. Everybody in Yasharal is preaching these days, ain't it? Niggas dumb as a box of Ross. I still ain't hollering at your people's people. I mean, I never call that nigga. That's our people. Well, man, you don't even want to get in that argument. That argument been going on for 5 years that I know of. Yeah, but shoot, I got a question that don't none of the niggas answer. They just tell me I'm speaking conjunction, but I'm gonna leave that where it rests. We good in Hebrew. So now they experts in war, right? They've been taught in war. They know how to go forth and wage a battle. 1 Timothy chapter 1, verse 15. And then we'll start looking at actual warfare and line that up with men. After this 1 Timothy 1 and 15, we're going to go to 2 Chronicles chapter 8, about verse 6.
I got the verse. Go ahead, man. 1 Timothy 1:15.
This is the faithful saying and worthy of all
Except.
exceptions,
Mm-hmm.
that Yahushua Mashiach came into the world to save sinners, of whom I am chief. Howbeit for this cause I obtained mercy, that in me first Yahushua Mashiach might show forth all long suffering, for a pattern to them that should hereafter believe on him to life everlasting. Now unto the King eternal, immortal, invisible, the only wise Elohim, be honor, esteemed forever and
Look
ever.
what he's going
Amen.
to tell Timothy.
This I charge.
This is what he gave him a responsibility to
I
do.
commit thee, son Timothy, according to the prophecies.
According to what?
The prophecies which went forth before thee.
What prophecies went forth before him is he talking about? In Revelation 19:10 it say the testimony of Yahushua is the Ruach of prophecy, right? So all the prophecies pertaining to Hamashiach, they came before him. He's already committed the word. Remember, Paul was taught in the testimony of Hamashiach by Hamashiach, correct? Now he done sat there, he done taught this to Timothy. He just sat back and said that in 2 Timothy, I taught this to you. Commit that to faithful men. You've been chosen to go to war, Timothy. Timothy didn't wake up one day and say he wanted to be a soldier. He was chosen to be a soldier. So once you've been chosen to be a soldier, as we've already ascertained, your life ends. It's no more about you and what you want to do. Can't be. Then you show yourself to be like the man in Luke chapter 9. You're not fit for this. Go preach this word while you weren't. You're going to be like that rich ruler, sorrowful because you had so many possessions and so many things you wanted to do, and a life and dreams and hopes and all these things you wanted to do. Nigga, go preach the word, nigga. You know why that's important? Because what you trying to hold on and go do does not compare to what I'm going to give you. We don't look at it that way because we want happiness now in this life. Because a person sits back looking at laboring in the word is not happiness. I'm not happy because I can't do the things that other people get to do. So how can I be happy? Which shows that clearly he ain't chose you to be no soldier. Come on, man. Read that from the top.
It says, for this cause I obtained mercy, that the first Yahushua Mashiach might show forth all long suffering for a pattern of them that should hereafter believe on him to life everlasting. Now unto the King eternal, immortal, invisible, the only wise Elohim, be honor and esteem forever and ever. Amen. This charge I commit unto thee, son Timothy, according to the prophecies which went before on thee, that thou by them mightest war the good warfare.
So by those prophecies, you might be able to know how to fight. And I ain't got a strong statement what he just made. By those prophecies, you might be able to war a good warfare. Now, what y'all think he really mean by this and what he telling you? Give me Romans chapter 3. Because we good in that place. When we look at that, the Greek word for right here, it's stratuo. And it literally means to make a military expedition, to lead soldiers to war or to battle, to do military duty, to be on active service.
What about reserve?
No reserves. Ain't no reserves over here.
You know, army reserve?
Ain't no army reserves.
So active service.
And then the Greek word for warfare is strata. And it's an expedition, campaign, a military service, or a metaphor. St. Paul likens his contest with the difficulties that oppose him in the discharge of his apostolic duties as warfare. So again, this is somebody who's preaching the word, which you can ascertain without even reading that part, is that he has to war against all the things that are coming against him, as that's his enemy or his adversary in this battle. And what would be those adversaries? We're going to read what Paul tell you what some of them adversaries is. But in order to war good warfare, you have to war them by the prophecies, which means you have to war them by the testimony of Hamashiach, which means you have to be an expert in war. You have to be taught in it. How else you going to be able to help other people fight the individual war they got to fight with themselves if you've not even been taught in how to fight yourself? Go ahead, man. Romans 3 and 1.
What advantage then have the Yahudim, or what profit is the circumcision? Much every way, chiefly because that unto them were committed the oracles of Elohim. For what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of Elohim without effect?
Let me tell you something, right? Does it matter if a nigga don't believe the book? It doesn't matter. That's why we tell you don't need to be worried about if niggas talking about, oh, that book fake, is this. All right, so what? I'm not gonna lose no sleep over it. I ain't gonna argue with you about it. Okay, you don't believe the truth, what you want me to do? Now I sit there and say, oh, you believe what you preach? Absolutely. I don't feel no need to validate it with you, because once I go to doing that, I'm trying to convince myself. I have no need to be persuaded. I'm already persuaded. Paul said we persuaded, therefore we persuade men. I've been persuaded by the promises, therefore I go after them. Go ahead. What's your life out of later?
Yeah, she pulled a real fake move. It was real fake. Anyway, for what if some did not believe? Shall that unbelief make the faith of Elohim without effect? Yah forbid. Yea, let Yah be true and every man a liar. As it is written, that thou mightest be justified in the sayings that mightest overcome when thou art
You
just.
said to be justified in your saying, so in able to wage a good warfare, you have to wage them by the prophecies that have been given of the master. How else you gonna be able to do it? And that's the same token as an individual, as a civilian. In order for you to wage a good warfare, you got to wage it according to the prophecies that are given. You can't wage it off your own volition. 2 Chronicles, man, chapter 8, verse 6 or 7. I'm already up, man. 2 Chronicles 8 and 7. It says, as for all the people that were left of the Hittites and the Amorites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites, which were not of Yasharal, but of their children who were left after them in the land, whom the children of Yasharal consumed not, them did Solomon make to pay tribute until this day. For the children of Yasharal did Solomon make no service for his work. But they were men of war, and chief of his captains, and captains of his chariots and horsemen. And these were the chief of the king Solomon's officers, even 250 that bear rule over the people. Now notice it sit back and say that Solomon made his people men of war. You know why that's important? Zechariah 8 and 23. Now don't get it twisted now, because Timothy had Yahudim in it. You know what I'm saying? So he wasn't no Gentile all the way through. He wasn't no stranger all the way through. He had some brew in it. Because you won't see nowhere in this book where this man sends somebody who ain't got no Hebrew blood in him. You know what I'm talking about? He ain't sending no stranger. Ain't no stranger going to preach nothing. He ain't never seen him do that. Go ahead, man. I'm just letting you know because it says Timothy's mother was a Yahudim. His daddy was Greek. So he had it in him. Go ahead.
What your daddy is, though.
Yeah, you is what your daddy is.
He ain't no bro.
He ain't no brew. Let them nigga tell it. Let them nigga tell you he ain't no brew, but clearly he is according to their book, though, wasn't
He got blood, huh?
he? He talking about, see, he Greek, see, Greek really, he just was living like a Hellenist. No, nigga, his daddy was Greek. That boy wasn't even circumcised. I'm just saying it don't matter which side of the family tree is, clearly. To get out here and get their money. Get that sword on your side, boy. Cut you some dome loose. Come on with it, man.
Zechariah 8.
And 23.
Thus said Yahuwah of hosts, in those days it shall come to pass that 10 men shall take hold of all languages of the nations, even shall take hold of the skirt of him that is a Yahudim, saying, we will go with you, for we have heard that Elohim is with
That's what you're going with. You know in 2 Timothy chapter 3, it sit back and tell you about how he say that. Go ahead and get it. 2 Timothy 3 and 13. Make it 14. He go to talking about his mama, call his mama by name.
2 Timothy 3 and 14.
Now clearly, right, if Timothy was a minister, what does that mean Timothy had? Not just that, I mean, according to the qualification, we'll look at the qualifications of that. If Timothy was a minister, what does that mean he was? There's a certain requirement that he got to have for that job. Not just that one, we'll get in a second. Go ahead. Yeah, he had a wife. No, it's the same thing. Same rules apply to them. We'll get it in a second.
That's what I said.
Yeah, but right behind that it says a deacon, which is a minister, and the same rules apply to him.
We had Timothy 3 and 14. 2 Timothy. But continue thou in the things which thou hast learned, and thou hast been assured of, knowing of whom thou hast learned them, and that from a child thou hast known thy
He
scripture,
say from a child. Well, who did he get him from? Who taught it to him?
which are able to make thee wise unto salvation.
That's good. You know, another place to say, remember the faith that was in your grandmother and your mama. I'll get that. Go to 1 Timothy chapter 3. And pick him up at about verse 8.
Likewise must a deacon be grave.
A deacon must be what?
Be grave.
And what else?
Not double-tongued, not given into much wine, not greedy and filthy lucre.
Now that word shouldn't be deacon, it should be minister. Timothy was a minister. He said he can't be greedy and filthy lucre. What else does it say about him?
Holding the mystery of faith in a pure conscience.
Mm-hmm.
And let these also first be proved, then let them use offices of a deacon, being found blameless.
What else?
Even so must their wives be grave, not slanderers, sober, faithful in all things.
And what else?
Let the deacons be husbands of one wife, ruling their children in their own houses well.
Go ahead.
For they that have used in the office of a deacon well purchase to themselves a good degree, and great boldness and faith which is in you.
So, in Timothy being a minister, he had a wife. You know what I'm saying? That means his wife was a part of his war. Now, there's one man in this book whose wife went along with him that you can read. Who was that man? There's an Acts. Anybody know his name? Aquila. You know what I'm saying? And Priscilla was his wife. You know, that means his wife was a soldier. Because she didn't just sit back and say, okay, baby, you're going to go out here and fight. I'm going to be to help me to be an aid, help, and a relief with you and fight the battle with you. And assist. You know what I'm saying? We talked about when we were talking about righteous women. You know, a lot of people believe Priscilla was preaching the word. I don't see where they get that from. But that's neither here nor there. But we had to sit back and see that Timothy had a wife. Now we'll look at 2 Timothy chapter 2, or chapter 1, and verse 4, and you'll see who taught him the word. Well, not taught him the word, but gave him an example of how to live.
I thank Elohim who I served from my forefathers with pure conscience, and without ceasing I have remembrance of thee in my prayers day and night, greatly desiring to see thee, being mindful of thy tears, that I may be filled with joy. When I call to remembrance the unframed faith that is in thee, which dwelt first in thy grandmother Lois and thy mother Eunice, and I am persuaded that in thee also.
So he already said that. This is what he's seen. Remember, he said his mama was a Yahudim, was a Jewess. So that's where he got the exposure to the word. Because his daddy was a Greek. His daddy was probably doing what Greeks do.
She was tuning it up.
You know what I'm saying? She was married to him, but he probably doing what Greeks do. I mean, he was around here touching little boys, or getting touched. But you know, he definitely probably was at the temple. He probably was at the temple of Athena, hanging out at the temple of Nike.
Hang with his hang out.
Whoa, not with his Google hangout.
That's what they do.
Yeah, that's what they do at the gymnasium. They read books and then abused one another. You know what I'm saying? They decided to do ungodly things to one another. But now, as he said back, we just sit back establishing this. I'm just saying. Now we done established that, hey, those who got the word, the children of Yasharal, are the ones who go to war. Let's look at something, right? 1 Samuel, chapter 30. Because it's a lot. And we dealt with a lot of stuff to establish this point. It's going to have to carry over. 1 Samuel 30 and about verse 8. Make it 6.
And Daud was greatly distressed, for the people spake of stoning him, because the soul of all the people was grieved, every man and his son for his daughters, and for his daughters. But Daud encouraged himself in who is Elohim, and Daud said to Abiathar the priest and Ahimelech's son, I pray thee, bring me hither the ephod, and Abiathar hither the ephod to Daud. And Daud inquired at Yahuwah, saying, shall I pursue after this truth? Shall I overtake them? And he answered him, pursue, for thou shalt surely overtake them, and without fail recover all. And so Daud went, he and the 600 men that were with him, and came to the brook of Besor, where those that were left behind stayed. But Daud pursued, he 400 men, and 200 abode behind, were so faint that they could not go over the brook Besor. And they found an Egyptian in the field, and brought him to Daud, and gave him bread, and he did eat. and they made him drink water. And they gave him a piece of a cake of fig, and 2 clusters of raisins. And when he had eaten, his ruach came again to him, for he had eaten no bread nor drunk any water 3 days and 3
Well, y'all know what that's talking about. We'll continue on though. We dealt with that before. Drop to verse 16. Found an Egyptian in the field. Where would the master found? Where they found him out in the field. Then he became an Egyptian. He became bondage. He became sin. And he had ate for 3 days and 3 nights. And all of a sudden his ruach got recovered in. But we're not dealing with that right now. Verse 16.
And when he had brought him down, behold, they were spread about abroad upon the earth, eating and drinking and dancing, because all the great spoil that they had taken out of the land of the Philistines, out of the land of Judah. And Daud smote them from the twilight until evening to the next day, and there escaped not a man of them, save 400 young men, which rode upon camels and fled. And Daud recovered all of the Amalekites, all that the Amalekites had carried away, and Daud rescued his 2 wives. And there was nothing lacking to them, neither small nor great, neither sons nor daughters, neither spoil nor anything that they had taken to them. Daud recovered all. And Daud took the flocks and the herds which they drave before those of the cattle, and said, This is Daud's spoil. And Daud came to 200 men which were faint, and they that could not follow Daud, whom they had made also to abide at the brook Besor. And they went forth to meet Daud, and to meet the people that were with him. And when Daud came near to the people, he saluted them.
What else?
Then answered all the wicked men, the men of Belial,
And men of Belial.
and the men of Belial.
So you got wicked niggas and Satan children in the same spot. Go ahead.
Those that went with Daud.
These are the ones that went with him to do all this fighting. You know, they didn't kill all these people by themselves. Go ahead.
Because they went not with us, we will not give them all the spoil that we have recovered, save to every man his wife and children, that they may lead them away and depart.
These men felt like because these men didn't go out to battle with them, that they weren't worthy to get anything. This is what I'm sitting here telling you, referring to that the reward for the soldier and the reward for the civilian is the same. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be the same. It's just that the soldier has a high level of responsibility laid on his shoulders. Go ahead.
And Daud said, Ye shall not do so, my brethren, with that which who has given us, who have preserved us, and delivered the company that came against us into our hand. For who will hearken unto you in this matter? But as his part is goeth down to battle, so shall his part be that tears by the stuff. They shall partake a lot. They shall part a lot.
There's no respect of a person. Everybody gonna get the same reward. This goes back to what he told Peter and John, right? He said, "What if I tell him to sit here and go preach my word?" This is the same exact thing. Whether I tell him to sit right here or whether I tell you to go preach the word, you're gonna get the same thing he gonna get. Just go fight.
But they ain't gonna get the same.
No, he's not. But he was just making a point. He said, "What if I will and I tell him to tarry here till I come back?" You know what I'm saying? If it's my will for this man to sit right here till I get back, what is that to you? Go fight. If it's my will for him to sit right here, you're not going to get a greater reward. I'm not going to get a greater reward than anybody sitting in this room because I'm out here fighting. I ain't getting no greater reward. He was like, you know what? I'm going to give you 2 crowns and a larger portion of land. He's not going to do that.
What about the apostles?
They just the only ones that they get a throne. He told them that in Matthew 19, they get a throne. But that's because that's who he chose, because 12 people had to sit on that throne. Based on the fact that he had already prophesied to Ishmael that 12 kings would come out of your loins. You know what I'm saying? So they had already been ordained to sit in these 12 thrones. They're the only ones that's getting something more than anybody else. Because the master said the servant's not above his master. So nobody is getting any more than anybody else. Because that's showing how you who is respected persons. People got different jobs. But ain't nobody getting no more than the next man. 2 Chronicles 26:9. Make it 8.
You get a business model, but our company. If you have fair things, it's like, you know.
Everybody get the same thing.
The boss got paid equal to the workers. You just want to feel like you can't play.
That's how a socialistic society is actually a pure socialistic society. That's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Everybody get everything equally. Because capitalism doesn't lead to that. Somebody's always going to have more than someone else. That's the nature. 26 and 8. Because capitalism is byproduct of for lack of a better term, the exploitation of other people. But then when you look at it in a capitalistic society, more than likely the person who owns the business is putting up more money and more risk than the people who are working for it. So therefore, by nature of that, they would be entitled to more of the profit because they taking more of the risk.
But that's the same thing with that. Them niggas went and sacrificed their neck. Why them niggas sitting down?
But they were sitting down because, and that's a whole other thing when you got to it, Yahuwah ain't never sent a whole bunch of people. And it wasn't that they weren't willing to sacrifice their neck, they weren't
I'm just
sitting
saying. I'm just saying. That's niggas can say that. Y'all ain't really risk y'all life by not having to go across. Even though y'all might have been willing to.
They weren't worried about it, but he was showing how these men were wicked. Because you felt like, because they ain't go, he told them to sit their black behind down. You know what I'm saying?
It's funny that the wicked niggas the ones that win.
The wicked niggas the ones who win. And you know what that is? Spare the righteous. You niggas get killed, we alright.
Alright. Let faith niggas sit watch the stuff.
Because the wicked got to die by the sword, so them niggas will not die. Because that's also showing you at the same token that you didn't win the battle, Yahuwah won the battle. Why did they win the battle? Because when these people were thinking about killing them, David encouraged himself in Yahuwah and relied on him. That's who took him down. Go ahead.
We had 2 Chronicles 26. Over 8. And the Ammonites gave gifts to Uzziah, and his name spread abroad even unto the entering of Egypt, for he strengthened himself exceedingly. Moreover, Uzziah built towers in Jerusalem at the corner gate and at the valley gate, and at the turn of the wall, and fortified them. Also he built towers in the desert and digged many wells, for he had much cattle, both in the low country and in the plains. Husbandmen also, and vine dressers in the mountains, and in Carmel, for he loved husbands. Moreover, Uzziah had a host of fighting men that went out by war by bands, according to the number of them, and their account by the hand of Yair, the scribe, Messiah, the ruler, and under the hand of Hananiah, one of the king's captains. And the whole number of the chief of the fathers of the mighty men of valor were 2,600, and under their hands was an army of 300,000 and 7,500.
Now hold on, let's stop right here, right? Now he said it in verse 10, right? Or verse 11. He said they went out to war by bands. When you look at bands, that's just a troop. You know what tribe means troop?
Yeah.
You got Gad. So he's sitting back like this by Gad, they went out in bands. Then you turn around and he said, and the number, according to the number of their account, to Jael, the scribe. He is a scribe. So when we look at the account, right, it says that they were given oversight, care, and custody, charge, overseer. So he was set over these men. They had to give account. That's the same token that the father sent the master sends the men who fight. You got to give account or oversight. Remember, we already read that in Hebrews 13 that they got to give account. You got to give account to your overseer. Hold on, get him 1 Peter chapter 5. Peter 5:1. Knowing that this man is a scribe, he's a kafar, or 5:1.
The elders which are among you I exhort, who am also an elder, a witness of the sufferings of the Mashiach, and also partakers of the esteem that shall be revealed. Feed the flock of Elohim which is among you, taking oversight thereof, not by constraint but willingly, not for filthy lucre but of a ready mind, neither as being masters over Elohim's heritage, but being examples to the flock. And when the chief shepherd shall appear, you shall receive a crown of esteem that fadeth not away.
Stop. So you have to give account to this man. Now, Yael's name literally means Elohim sweeps away. Now, if he's a scribe, it means a learned man, correct? So this is a learned man who sent men out. Why would a scribe have to be sending men out to go fight? And that these men got to give account to this learned man. It's the same token that when this man sent out preachers by bands. Let's look at Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 9. He's sending men out by bands. When this man send you out to do this warfare, nothing else matters. And like I say, we even did this, talked about the hardness. Because you look at David, he had to endure hardness as a good soldier, Yahushua HaMashiach, because these people wanted to stone him because these people hadn't came through. And it's the thing we're going to read when Paul says all the things he had to suffer for the ministering of the word. And if you are a good soldier, you can't get caught up in the cares and affairs of this life because you're not going to be able to fight an effective warfare. This is why Paul says sometimes he would rather have died to go be with the master, that he could be at rest. Because that's not an easy life. as people think it is. You know what I'm saying? Most people who sit back and they say they want to preach have not actually sat back and counted the cost and everything that goes along with that. Go ahead.
Ephesians 5:9. For the
I'm
fruit,
sorry, 4:9.
now that he ascended, what is it but he that also descended further to the lower parts of the earth? He that descended is the same also that ascended up far above Shamaim, that he might fill all things. And he gave some apostles and some prophets and some evangelists and some pastors and teachers.
So these are the men who he sent to do the warfare. Sent them out by bands. He sent apostles, he sent prophets, he sent teachers, he sent evangelists, he sent pastors. For what purpose?
For the perfecting of the saints.
To make them complete.
For the work of the ministry.
The same thing he said what the Levites were supposed to be doing. For the work of the ministry and the service of the tabernacle.
For the edifying of the body of Mashiach.
That the people might be taught.
So we all come into the unity of the faith and into the knowledge of the Son of Elohim unto a perfect man, unto the measure of stature of the fullness of the Mashiach. That we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro and carried about with every wind of doctrine, by the sleight of men, and cunning craftiness whereby they lie in wait to deceive.
Go ahead, that's good. Come back to 26. So these men like to sit, men like to sit back and deceive. So that's what the purpose of these is. So guess what? If they're experts trained in war or taught in war, then guess what they can do? They can be able to teach the people to be able to fight the war that they have to fight for themselves. Go ahead. You start in verse 11. 2 Chronicles 26 and 11.
Moreover, Uzziah had a host of fighting men that went to war by bands according to the number of their count by the hands of Yehiel. The scribe and Manasseh, the ruler under the hand of Hananiah, one of the king's captains. The whole number of the chiefs of the fathers of the mighty men of valor were 2,600, and under their hand was an army of 300,000 and 7,500 that made war with mighty power to help King Uzziah against the enemy. And Uzziah prepared for them throughout all the whole shields and spears and helmets and habergeons and bows and slings to cast stones.
Stop right there. Look at what he say Uzziah prepared for these soldiers. Let's see what he said he provided for them. Shields, spears, helmets, habergeons, and bows to sling and cast stones.
The habergeon, that's body.
That's body armor. That's body armor.
The breastplate.
So let's look at Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 9. Sound like we got a hater in the house. You say, do we got a couple haters?
Ephesians 5:9.
6 and 9.
And ye masters, do the same things unto them, forbearing, threatening, knowing that your master also in Shamaim, neither is there respect of persons with him. Finally, my brothers, be strong in Yahuwah and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of Elohim, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil.
So Uzziah, what was Uzziah? King Yasharal, wasn't it? So the king has prepared this body armor. Now, like I said, right, this body armor ain't just for the soldiers who go into war. This also for y'all, because y'all going to war too. You just ain't preaching the word. And you're going to have to give account to this same scribe. Go ahead.
It says, at 12, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against rulers of darkness of this world.
Now, we talked about that the other day. Our weapons of our warfare are not carnal. So you're not fighting a carnal battle. You're not finna literally stand out here and fight men like how most Hebrews got you thinking that you're gonna be fighting men. When most of these niggas ain't gonna bust a grape, ain't gonna strike a match in a blackout, ain't gonna do nothing.
Ain't gonna start the match at a blackout.
Go ahead. They gonna be walking around here showing your dog. Don't you got a matchbook? Yeah, I ain't striking it though. You can walk around like this here, just feel around. That's my face though, cuz.
Against darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of Elohim, that you may be able to
So take them Harbor Johns with you then. Go ahead.
having done all to stand. Stand therefore, having your loins girded about with truth, having the breastplate of righteousness,
God bless, pray.
and your feet shod with the preparation of the Besor of Shalom. Above all, taking the shield of faith.
Hold on, taking the what? Because he said he gave them shields, what?
The shield of faith.
See what they said? Some don't believe, shall I make the faith of Elohim of none effect? See, that faith gonna shield you from a lot of different things. That's why you will be able to endure the hardness that you're gonna have to suffer as a good soldier. Go ahead.
It says, taking the shield of faith wherewith ye shall also be able to quench the fiery darts of the
But
wicked.
what are these fiery darts? Because you know they tell you that in Psalms. He said they shoot the arrows at the perfect in secret. I'm trying to remember what verse that's located at. Come on, I think it's Psalm 62. What was Psalm 62? Come on, boys. No, Psalm 62 ain't got what we looking for, I don't think. Psalm 62 ain't got what we looking for.
Said darts. Arrows of the wicked. Arrows of the wicked. 64.
Go ahead. Nah, Psalm 64.
No, it says 64.
No, you just said 54.
I said 54 and I'm on the page. That's
Sound like you said 54. Shoot, nigga, I said like this here, you thought I said something else. We don't know, you might be dyslexic.
64.
64 and 1. I don't know, that nigga, you think he dyslexic, we need to get him checked.
They heard me. I got witnesses, son. Hear my voice, O Elohim, in prayer. Preserve my life for fear of the enemy. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked.
Hide him from what?
The secret counsel of the wicked. From the insurrection of the workers of iniquity.
You know what an insurrection is, right?
Tumult.
Insurrection is rebellion. That's a rebellion. You ain't never heard about insurrections in history class? Yeah, insurrection is when niggas rebel against the ruling class or authority of that time.
Revolt.
Go ahead, I don't care. Check it all you want, nigga. It's insurrection, nigga. It's a rebellion. What were the scribes and Pharisees doing? They were rebelling. You know what I'm talking about? What you having a secret council for? We gonna lose our place in the nation. Some things are called deductive reasoning, sir. Deductive reasoning. Go ahead. Indeed.
Who wet their tongues like a sword, or sharpen their tongues like a sword, and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words.
Bitter words.
That they may shoot in secret.
In what?
In secret.
In what?
In secret.
We don't want nobody to know about it.
At the perfect.
At the who?
At the perfect.
At the complete.
Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not.
And they ain't even scared. The nigga wasn't scared to shoot at the mouth of what? They had a lot to say about that nigga when he wasn't around. I don't like that nigga. That nigga got people believing on him and stuff, raising people from the dead. Kill that nigga.
Throw rocks and hide their hand.
Throw rocks and hide their hand. They wouldn't even throw a rock, hide their hand, because they didn't have enough heart to say it to him. They didn't want to say nothing to him until they had him up there on the stage. Now they want to talk. Nigga, old blaspheming nigga. I need a tip. This nigga dumb. But when you see this, when you see the shields of faith, though, it allow that because you trust in this man. You know what I'm saying? You don't see it. 2 Corinthians chapter 4. Is it chapter 4? It ain't chapter 4. I want to say it's chapter 6. 2 Corinthians chapter 6. 2 Corinthians chapter 6, right? Pick it up about verse 4. 2 Corinthians 6 and 4. Now look at what these shields gonna protect you from, and this is again talking about, and I ain't just winning the law to sit back. Because you can look at the hardness that Moses endured. The people spoke against him. They had an insurrection against him. You know what I'm saying? Because they rebelled against him to overthrow his leadership. You know what I'm talking about? He had to deal with the people's complaining. He had to deal with the people's unbelief. And he endured all that as a good soldier. He did not please himself, nor did he get entangled with the cares and affairs of their life. See, you got to sit back and look at Aaron got entangled with the cares and affairs of their life. Because when the people went to talk about they wanted to dance, they wanted a god, they around here made idol Aaron right there with him. He made it. Guess what he was probably doing? Drinking and playing and dancing.
And you say that.
Shoot, he right there with him. He got to say that. He was with him. You made it. You was a part of it. They ain't forced that man to do nothing. One thing I told y'all last night, can't nobody force you to do nothing.
Why they ain't slide Aaron then?
He ain't slide Aaron because Aaron had a job to do. Your sins got put away. Why he ain't slide David? His sins got put away.
I was under the impression when it said the Levites, the sons of Aaron, included Aaron.
Nah, they just say the Levites say, Moses say, Aaron can't stand up and fight nobody because he dead wrong. How you gonna slaughter a nigga? Gotta slaughter you. You committed the sin. You made it. Matter of fact, Aaron even say, the people. You can't slay nobody. He that's what I said, Captain First Stone. You sit your black behind right over here and watch.
I know that's how he
You sit over here and watch. Straight up and down. Come over here with me. Feel like I said earlier, hold on. Take him. Get 12. Come on, son. Right here. You take another shot like that, I promise you'll never see the court again.
That nigga definitely got a mean part. That was a mean part.
David got a mean pardon. David got a mean pardon. David committed adultery and murder and lied. He used deceit in God.
We talking about that.
Shoot, what's the difference?
Talking about Aaron.
Shoot, both of them sins under death. Both of them sins under death. Both you niggas supposed to be dead. Aaron, you participated in idolatry. You supposed to
He got
die.
that nigga first born for his wife.
But that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. He ain't killed David.
I know, but he still sacrificed somebody. Somebody's blood got shit.
It don't matter. David's blood ain't get shit. And David pronounced death on himself.
Talking about Aaron.
You know what I'm saying? We talking about mercy though.
He definitely talking about mercy. No, he definitely got a piece of mercy.
You know what I'm saying? 'Cause screw that. He could have killed David and the baby.
Yeah. He could have killed one, two, and having the baby.
Everybody could have died.
Boy. I feel like that's why that's kind of different. It was a full party sin type thing.
It don't
There was a lot of hands involved in
Shoot,
that.
but everybody didn't even die in the sin with the golden calf. Everybody didn't die.
Everybody who worshiped God except Aaron. Saved Aaron.
No, he just said he just said he knocked off 3,000. It said 600,000 people came up out of Egypt, not counting women and children.
Only 3,000 servants. Worship.
You think only 3,000 people would dance around like that?
No, Levi was deep though now.
Yeah, Levi was deep, but they wasn't that deep.
I'm saying that.
Well, you got a million some odd people out there. Boy, you only thought 3,000 participated.
Everybody who served this. That's what they say. Everybody who's on that.
Well, he's paying some, because some of them got to be able to tell the story. Don't you never dare serve another golden calf.
Levi told
It
it.
ain't in the book. I can't go.
It ain't though. That's speculation.
So if I go to the law and say you kill these niggas so the others might fix it, he didn't kill every sinner. He didn't kill everybody who asked for them quails.
What?
He didn't kill everybody who asked for them quails. Numbers 11 for Mr. Stutterman
Talk
over here.
about what?
I'm talking about the same thing with the man. The same thing in Exodus 32.
See, you missing 5.
Go ahead and get it.
You know,
32 years. He didn't kill all them people.
But when he said everybody who bowed to the calf, he ain't kill them all.
He didn't kill them. There was 600,000 people came up out of there. If you only think 3,000 people worship them idols, you fooling yourself. So 557,000 people sat over there talking about this nigga taking too long to come back, and 3,000 say we gonna get it in.
hey man, we gonna go and lose it.
Come on, Exodus 32. Why would this man stand up and say, kill me for the sin of the people? I don't care nothing about 3,000 niggas.
Black that's written in the page, you know.
Care nothing about no 3,000 niggas. Come
Like
on.
that was just a public example.
Ain't no war. It feel like that was a public example. Because what did Moses pray? He said, if you wipe them all out, the Egyptians gonna run their mouth. So I can't wipe them all out. Because there was plenty of times this man wanted to wipe all these niggas out. He said, matter of fact, I'm gonna kill you and start over. He said, please don't do it. Please don't do it. They gonna say he brought these people out here to murder him. He wasn't able to bring them in the place that he promised to them.
Yeah.
He said that numerous times.
Like, this boy left Egypt and died out there.
He died out here in the wilderness.
Died in the wilderness.
He did all that for nothing.
So how many people say bow to the calf?
It don't say.
Oh, that's it. That's finished.
It don't say.
Niggas just got slid.
Right here in verse 7, he says, and Yahuwah said unto Moses, get thee down, for thy people, which thou brought out of the land of Mizraim, have corrupted themselves. They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them. They have made them a molten calf, and have worshipped it, and sacrificed thereunto, and said, these be thy gods, O Yasharal, which have brought thee up out of the land of Mizraim. And Yahuwah said unto Moses, I have seen this people, and behold, it is a stiff-necked people. Now therefore let me alone, that my wrath may wax hot against them, that I may consume them, and I will make of thee a great nation. And Moses besought Yahuwah as Elohim and said, Yahuwah, why doth thy wrath wax hot against thy people, which thou brought forth out of the land of Mizraim with great power and with a mighty hand? Wherefore should the Egyptians speak and say, for mischief did he bring them out, to slay them in the mountains, and to consume them from the face of the earth? Turn from thy fierce wrath, and repent of this evil against thy people. Now, he wasn't a ringleader, but they stepped to him. He supposed to told him, sit your monkey behind down somewhere.
They was gonna kill him.
But then you gonna have to kill me then.
Yeah, he was supposed to die like that. That was one to take charge for.
Then when you look at verse 26, he says, Moses stood in the gate of the camp and said, who is on Yahuwah's side? Let him come unto me. All the sons of Levi gathered themselves together unto him. He said unto them, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim Yasharal, put every man his sword by his side, and go in out from the gate throughout the camp, and slay every man his brother, every man his neighbor, and his companion. Every man his companion, every man his neighbor. And the children of Levi did according to the word of Moses, and there fell the people that day about 3,000. He told them to kill whoever you came across. But then if he killed every man his brother, then he just went against what Moses just asked to pray for him to do. But in this it says every. He didn't kill everybody.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
But it didn't say everyone who worshiped. He just said kill every man his neighbor, his companion, and his brother. So that means everybody you come across, murk that nigga till I tell you to stop. Ain't no speculation. It's clearly because he only killed 3,000 people. He did not. This man didn't say, when Yahuwah said pronounce his judgment, he said, I'm going to kill everybody. So that means everybody participated.
Yeah, because there's several stories where he did kill everybody.
You know what I'm saying? Now, do we know that there was a remnant of righteous people who didn't participate? Always is. And that remnant is always what? Small.
Yeah, that is. It don't say it. It don't say it.
Knock him down till I tell you to stop.
It probably just a 1 day free fall, and that's all they got. That's a lot of killing now in 1 day.
Indeed it is.
Probably gave them 3 days. Slide these niggas all day. Alright, well, that's all we gotta go with.
Well, all we know is Exodus 12:46 tell you 600,000 men besides women and children. All these people are out here dancing around, serving a golden calf. He said, who is on his side? Only the children of Levi got up. You can't. The book tell you how many niggas was out there. It tells you that coming out of Egypt, 600,000 people came out, not counting women and children. So that means standing right here, there was over 1 million people here.
Niggas was dying before they got to the mountain, man.
You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, and they were having children before they got there too. So there was a good over 500,000 people who were standing right here.
You say that, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
That's safe to say.
But like this, but he's sitting here telling you one tribe came over. So you can already sit back and he said, I'm going to kill all these niggas. So that means pretty much all these niggas participated. He just told you that. Yes, he did. He said, I'm going to kill them all. They all corrupted themselves. They said, let us make us gods. This is our God. They all participated. He said, the people. All you niggas.
I think it was just a 1 day pass, though.
Yeah, I gotta kill some of y'all.
Just a 1 day free fall. All you can get in this 1 day.
It's over.
It's over. Because if he was gonna kill everybody, he would have went back on his word. Yeah. And then it would only been one tribe.
And he was gonna have to make them out of Moses.
Yeah.
And start all over again.
Yeah. I can live with that.
Yeah, it was more than 3,000 people. Way more than 3,000 people who participated in that.
Niggas hit that tent.
Shaking in their boots. Boy, I hope that nigga passed by my house.
Yeah.
Boy, I hope that nigga passed by my house. Because when he said who was on y'all side, nobody else got up. They could be on y'all side. And that also showed another reason the Levites were faithful. The rest of the nigga like this here, shoot, that nigga take too much.
He said, we'll down for the murder game.
They don't say that.
They don't say that. He said who is on y'all side. But before he said anything about
Who's on y'all side?
But before he said anything about killing, he said who was on y'all side.
After he said who on my side, he said, hey, y'all go get y'all sword.
No.
Now you add.
Listen what he said. He said no. He said that after the Levites stood.
What is it, bro? You trying to ride?
He didn't say who trying to ride. He said who was on y'all side.
You on my side, bro?
And then he said gird your
You on
sword.
my side, bro?
He didn't say nothing. They didn't know what was going on. We didn't know we would shoot.
I did, bro.
And then, because it said clearly, said, and he said unto them. So after he asked who was on his side, then he told them what he wanted them to do.
Come up to me.
That's no difference now. Who is on your side? Come under the master.
I bet Aaron jumped up when he said that.
Shoot, Aaron probably liked this here. Did like that Homer Simpson in that bush. Disappeared. I ain't got nothing to do with that. I don't know nothing about nothing. I ain't seen nothing about nothing.
Nah, he full that. I know he did.
Come on back to Ephesians chapter 6, man.
That boy got real quiet, real dumb.
Real dumb dog. Got to. He dead wrong. He the first person supposed to die.
Yeah, that was my whole thing.
But the reason why Aaron didn't die because he had already appointed for this man to be high priest. He hadn't even been given that job yet.
Niggas was salty about that.
Probably.
And that nigga lived, he made the cap.
But it was you asked him to pay nigga. Go ahead, babe.
We had Ephesians 5 and
6.
let no man deceive you with vain words, for because these things come at the wrath of Elohim.
Ephesians 6.
Oh, and 5?
No.
6 and 6.
We'll stop that. We were in verse 10.
We had Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but principalities and against powers and against rulers of darkness of the world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore take unto you the whole arm of Elohim, that you may be able to withstand the evil day, having done all to stand.
You have done all the standing.
Standing therefore, having your loins girt with truth, having the breastplate of righteousness,
Then he gave him a breastplate.
your feet shod with the preparation of the sword of shalom.
So you got the faith that he gave you? Go ahead.
Above all, having the shield of faith, wherein ye should be able to quench the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the
Didn't it
Ruach.
say he gave him a helmet too? So he gave him a heart, he gave him a mind of faith. Or put the law in their heart with an inward part to protect their mind. Go ahead.
And the sword of the Ruach, which is the word of Elohim.
Now this is how you be able to be an expert, to be able to go and back. The whole key point of where it say that you can't entangle yourself with the cares and affairs of this life. If you've been called, get Philippians 3 and 8 while I read this 2 Corinthians chapter 6 verse 3. I read verse 1. 2 Corinthians 6 and 1. He say, we did as workers together with him. Remember, say workers. Together with the master. These are laborers in the word. Beseech you also that you receive not the favor of Elohim in vain. For he saith, I have heard thee in a time accepted, in the day of salvation have I succored thee. Behold, now is the accepted time. Behold, now is the day of salvation. Giving no offense in anything, that the ministry be not blamed, but in all things approving ourselves as ministers of Elohim in much patience, in afflictions, in necessities, in distresses, in stripes, in imprisonments, in torments, in labors, in watchings, in fastings, by pureness, by knowledge, by long suffering, by kindness, by the Ruach HaKadosh, by love unfeigned. These are all the hardships that, and like I said, because guess what? Jeremiah got locked up for the word, didn't he? Didn't Peter get locked up for the word? Yahushua got locked up for the word. You know what I'm saying? You talking about torments or arguments, battles. David got into that with Saul. All of these things as good soldiers of Mashiach, they had to endure. Because you know what happens if you don't want to be a good soldier of Mashiach, then you flee these things. Because you're not going to be willing to go to prison. You're not going to be willing to face no torments. You're not going to be willing to face no distresses. Because you're not going to come after him. You're not going to take up that stake, and you're not going to forsake everything. And that's why somebody from the outside look like your life ain't happy. You don't get to do this and do that and do this. Look at what you suffer. Because we fools for Hamashiach's sake. You're not worthy of the kingdom. That's why I tell you a lot of people not going to make it, because the things that you're going to have to suffer, they don't want to suffer. See, they want to live life and serve Hamashiach. You can't do both. John 12 and 24. What I got you on for that?
Yeah, you holding the Ephesians and Chronicles.
Who good with that?
Oh, Chronicles? Yeah, I had Philippians.
Yeah, Philippians 3 and 8. That's what I'm going to chronicle. Who's done?
Philippians 3 verse 8.
Listen what this man tell you.
Yea, doubtless I count all things but loss.
But lost.
But the excellency of knowledge of the Mashiach and Master, for whom I have suffered the loss of all things, and do count them but dung.
Didn't Peter, we already read where Peter said that we forsook everything we had? Then he said he forsook all, so to be a good soldier to this man, he counted everything that he had as a loss. And he counted it but as dung so that they could win a Mashiach. We don't look at it in that fashion. This is why he said you can't please him to be a soldier, which means your faith is what's going to cause you to please him as being a good soldier. You're going to go out there by the scriptures and you're going to war warfare. We can see Paul doing that in Acts 28, warring a good warfare according to the prophecies of Hamashiach. We see Hamashiach doing that in Luke 24. We see Peter doing that in Acts chapter 2. You see Peter doing that in Acts chapter 10. You see them doing that, Paul doing it again in Acts 13. You see Stephen doing it in Acts chapter 7. You see James doing it in his epistles. They're warring a warfare according to the prophecies of Hamashiach to fight a good battle. And to fight that good battle, knowing the word, this is how they're able to go against all these distresses, all these persecutions, all these troubles, all these fake brethren, all these people shooting darts at the perfect in secret. And this is how able, if you not called to preach, you gonna have to deal. You don't got to be a preacher for the wicked to shoot darts at you. You ain't got to be a preacher to suffer persecution and affliction and distresses and imprisonment and torments. So you got to be able to be an expert, trained properly in war. Everybody's not trained properly in war. This is why they don't fight a good fight. This is why when it comes down to suffering for the word, that's why they fold.